sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
Last night, Jake Bauers came through in the clutch, delivering a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 8th that proved to be the difference maker as Tampa Bay evened the series. Today, the Rays' red-hot offense will look to continue their September surge and keep their playoff dreams alive. A look at Tropicana Field, getting set for the last of 3 between the Rays and the A's. The Rays trying to win the rubber game against the team they are chasing in the wild card hunt. Certainly a lot of ground to make up as the Rays got their 81st victory yesterday. Tampa Bay trying to conclude a homestand at 7-2 as well. They have certainly been terrific here in their home ballpark. Hi, everybody. In for Dwayne Stats, who we hope feels better soon. Neil Solondz, you can call me the latest opener. In with Brian Anderson, getting set for the Rays and A's. Well, the Rays certainly have opened well offensively yesterday with quite a salvo against an Oakland A's team that's been one of the best pitching clubs right now in baseball.
Well, and you think about this Rays offense starting to score some runs, and it's like an ode to 2017 because the long ball is making a comeback. The Rays, not the biggest home run hitting team in this season, but look what they've done the last 13 games, Neil. 17 bombs, and I'll tell you what, a few solo, but a lot of these home runs, runners on base, 2- and 3-run homers, walk off there by G-Man Choi, the big 3-run homer last night by Jake Bauers. So they have been meaningful home runs. They have made a big difference, and in this time frame, the Rays averaging almost 6 runs per, and they're going to need that offense to show up today because Mike Fiers takes the mound for the Oakland Athletics. 7 starts with them since coming over from the Tigers. The team's won them all. They are a perfect 7-0. He's 5-0, ERA 2.72, a master manipulator of the strike zone. You're going to see him work the ball up and down, the changeup, good curveball, a lot of different pitches, a lot of different looks. The Rays are going to have to be on point to get to him this afternoon.
Well, we'll see if they can do so. Perhaps it'll be Jake Bauers who continues. Is it a hot streak? Did he break out of the slump? 3 hits yesterday. Michelle Margot will have more on the Rays outfielder today after this.
finale between the Oakland A's and your Tampa Bay Rays. Well, last night was a very refreshing sight to see Jake Bauers with a 3-hit night, 4 RBIs, and a huge go-ahead 3-run home run. Here's your Coors timeless moment. He was 2 for 29, 0 for 11 before last night. An 0-2 pitch off Amelia with that bat flip and a great reception from his teammates. And Bauers himself said a huge weight lifted off his chest.
You know, it's been a long few months for me personally, and you know, so just to contribute to a win like that and kind of be able to, you know, let emotions out in a positive way, feels pretty good.
Bauers is hitting 8th and in left field today, and Mike Byers will start for the A's as the Rays send Diego Castillo to the bump as the opener in the rubber match. We'll have first pitch from Tropicana Field coming up after the break.
It's a day for dogs. Hopefully it's also a good day for the Rays. It's dog day at the ballpark. Hey, you got a dog you brought today? No?
No. My dog is not here.
All right.
My dog's probably too big and too intimidating to have here at the ballpark.
Well, let's take a look at the lineups presented by your local Ford dealers, and we will start with the Oakland A's, and they basically have used the same group. The only question is who's hitting leadoff, and today it's Nick Martini.
Well, then you've got Chapman, Lowry, Davis. You know, they got all these guys throughout this lineup. You know, you think about trouble, all the guys with 20-plus home runs, and they sprinkle them throughout. So you've got to be sharp with your command. And like we saw really this entire series, the way the Rays go after these guys, change speeds, a lot of off-speed, down and away, trying to get these guys to pull off of it. And Diego Castillo will be the first guy up to try to do that. He will be making his 8th open of the season, 39th overall appearance. 3-2 record, 3.31 earned run average. His last 2 appearances have covered 2 innings, and that was also part of this series. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, if he ends up going that far again. But his first open in game 1 of this series, you know, 2 innings, 4 punch-outs, nothing else across the board.
I thought it was one of his best appearances, period, because he threw strikes. He hasn't always done that. He's under 50% on first pitch strikes, which is at the bottom of the Rays staff.
But it's been on its way up ever since he was moved into that, you know, getting an opportunity to do some starting.
And he begins today with a fastball at 97 for a first pitch strike.
You know, you remember when you saw him early on where he did have trouble with command, a lot of arm side run and had trouble keeping the ball on the plate. Seems to be a lot more of the four-seamer now, powering it right into the zone.
I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Oh, they've got a stare down, the old September stare down.
Who's going to win that? Carlos Gomez?
Let's play ball.
They don't want to give in. Carlos is still sitting on the edge. Liam Hendricks, who opened yesterday, is going to stare down for starters today. Well, Diego Castillo staring down strikes so far with an 0-2 count on Nick Martini.
Back to play. Back to play.
2 strikes to count on Martini. The A's have really rotated again. Whoever's hitting at the top of the order, but you look 2 through 9 again, the same 8 guys in order throughout this entire series, and why not? Bob Melvin has a group of horses in the lineup. They've been one of the most productive in Major League Baseball the last 3 months. And there's the cutter on the hands that Diego Castillo will use. He really is about a 50-50 pitcher. Fastball slider, fastball cutter.
Everything hard. You know, we've seen him again as he has slid into the opener role. That fastball sitting 98. We've seen it up to 101. Just really attacking the strike zone with the power stuff, and I think ultimately that ends up helping him as he transitions to the back end and becomes one of those guys full time.
And there's a really sharp slider that begins the ball game, and there's out number 1 with a K for Castillo. So he's faced 7 this series. He's fan 5.
Well, that's his stuff. He's got overpowering stuff. You get ahead, you can expand, and this is not even a particularly good slider. I mean, off the plate early, but Martini gearing up for that high-octane fastball. He's got to get it started early, and by the time he realizes that ball's out of the zone, too late.
So 1 gone from Matt Chapman, who hit a mammoth home run his last time up yesterday off Sergio Romo. He's at the top of the league since the All-Star break in terms of extra base hits. He struck out against Castillo 2 days ago, and he started with a terrific fastball on the outside edge. Sharp slider for strike 2. Today's jackpot brought to you by the Florida Lottery, and you can see the difference between Matt Chapman. I mean, he was hitting for power beforehand, but the average has gone way up.
Well, the longer that you're in the league and the more well-defined your strike zone becomes, you start swinging at strikes and don't expand as much, you're going to see that happen, and that's what the A's are seeing right now with Chapman.
Here comes Castillo. Easy play for Willie Adams. 2 gone in the first. So 7 pitches, 7 strikes for Diego Castillo to start, and if he has a short first inning, it allows him to go 2, even though he's going on a day's rest, right?
Yeah, well, you could. I mean, Kevin Cash has a lot of options available to him. Same thing with Bob Melvin, and we've talked about it this entire series. You know, Kevin Cash is working with 13 guys in the bullpen. Bob Melvin's got 18, so there are options.
I'm just happy they have enough chairs for everybody down there.
Well, you know what? Listen. They do take down a number of folding chairs, and they absolutely have to, but I saw some guys just sitting on the ground, lounging about.
First ball is to Jed Lowry with 2 gone in the first.
Kind of looked like a spring training game. You know, everybody's out in the grass, pull out the blankets, no picnic.
Well, Jed Lowry's no picnic at the plate. He and the guy on deck, Chris Davis, have really been a powerful 1-2 punch in the A's lineup. As Castillo draws even.
We saw Chris Davis. He was the difference in game 1 of this series. Jed Lowry, I think the Rays have really done a nice job in the way that they have attacked him all season long. Really kept him from the big hit, the difference maker.
Just 6 for 27 against Rays pitching so far this year. Rays have done pretty well against most of this A's lineup, which again is saying something. Castillo moving Lowry off the plate. And now Diego behind in the count. What have they done specifically against Jed that's been so effective to
Well,
you?
they just moved the ball around on him. I mean, you know, a good hitter like Jed Lowry, a guy that's been in the league for a long time, you can hit for average, you know, can pop some balls out of the yard. You've just got to make him uncomfortable, and that is either through sequencing, you know, up, down, in, out, back and forth.
Sharp slider there to run the count even.
See, and those are the pitches that he has not been able to take advantage of. You know, you think about that hanging slider right there, not Diego Castillo's best offering. Those are the ones, if you're Jed Lowry, you want to be able to get to these. You've got to make those hurt. And when you don't make those hurt, then all of a sudden he does make the pitch, and now you're done.
So Castillo a chance for an easy frame. And Lowry stays alive. How much of that is missing a slider like that is in the first inning you have to gear up for 97 to 101?
It could be. I mean, I think you'd have to talk to Jed Lowry, to these hitters, but you certainly have to account for that. But typically, when you're geared up for the fastball and a guy hangs a slider, I mean, that's doing you a favor, and those are typically not missed. But, you know, who knows? I mean, maybe that front hip starts to fly open a little bit too soon, and mechanically you get a little bit off because things get started too early.
Diego Castillo buries Jed Lowry, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Malik Smith will lead us off when we return in the bottom of the first. Perfect top of the first, so we check the lineups in the bottom of the first for the Rays, presented by your local Ford dealers. Malik Smith to lead it off. Tommy Pham, who had his hit streak snapped yesterday, is off today, as is Joey Wendell. So they get C.J. Cron in the lineup. C.J. hitting in the cleanup spot, and we'll see if Malik Smith can get it going against one Mike Fiers, who's been very good. In fact, the A's have not lost any of his 7 starts, and he's given up more than 2 runs only once in those 7.
He has been extremely sharp, and like we said in the open, manipulates the strike zone. You know, he's got the fastball, split, slider, curve. He'll cut the fastball every now and then, and so it's just a matter of moving that ball around the zone, not overpowering with the velocity.
And there he starts with a fastball, only 88, but when he uses his curveball, which is in the low 70s, it really plays up, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, anytime you can get that kind of range between 2 pitches, you know, especially off-speed fastball, whether it's changeup or curveball, it helps that fastball gain.
And it's hard for a hitter when they see 88, 89, 90, I would think, to lay off a high fastball because it looks invited, but it's tough to square up.
Especially when, anytime you bring pitches.
Malik looped this down the left field line. Martina a long run, can't get it, but it's a foul ball. And Malik Smith now down 1-2.
You know, anytime you go into a series, first of all, hitters love to hit the fastball. I mean, that's what you grew up. Every hitter likes to hit the fastball. when you go into a particular game and you know that the guy doesn't have an overpowering fastball and that he likes to pitch up in the zone where it's close to your eyes and you see it big, you know, sometimes it's like, that's why you don't go grocery shopping on an empty stomach. You know, the eyes get big and you want to get everything. You want to go after those pitches. And like you said, Jake Odorizzi was the king of that. Right out over the middle of the plate, 91, 92, and either swing throughs or pop-ups. That's what Fires is going to try and do with the curveball off of that.
Nice job by Malix to stave off the fastball up. I got to make sure to take notes on that and not go to the grocery store on an empty stomach next time. I guess I've done that too often.
Listen, we all have. You end up getting home and unpacking stuff, and you're like, what was the idea behind this?
Nope. Malix Smith, second in the American League in hitting at home. Sees a changeup. First one from Fires in this sequence, and it's even. Rays already have bullpen activity going in the bottom half of the first with Diego Castillo opening. Maybe a slight surprise in terms of who they have warming. Malix Smith chops one right back to Fires. And there's one gone here in the first.
Well, let's quickly set the Oakland Athletic defense for you, brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we've got Nick Martini, Ramon Laureano, and Stephen Piscotti. Across the infield, third to first, Matt Chapman, Marcus Semien, Jed Lowry, and Matt Olson, with Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate.
Meanwhile, for the Rays, they already have bullpen activity going. It's Andrew Kittredge getting loose. I would assume likely to pitch the second for Tampa Bay. There's a look at Andrew, who's pitched in the first two games in this series. Inside, and Matt Duffy hit by a pitch, and that's the Rays' first base runner. Rays lead the league in hit by pitches. And the Rays have a man aboard for Ji-Man Choi.
Boy, and I'll tell you, Matt Duffy had no chance in getting out of the way of that one. Those are the types of hit by pitch where you say to yourself, is there a history here, or what's going on behind that? Because Mike Fires, you know, since he's come over to the Oakland Athletics, he's walked, what, 6 guys? 7 guys in 7 starts. So his command and control has been impeccable. That was nowhere near anything but Matt Duffy's ribs.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. Again, Rays lead the league in hit by pitches this year. As a team, they've been hit 91 times now as Ji-Man Choi takes outside and with the changeup. Ji-Man has not had a hit in this series. He's had some big hits for the Rays lately. And you could say he is due for one against the Oakland A's. Maybe somebody didn't like Jake Bauers' bat flip and they didn't want to wait till the third. I mean, they shouldn't. It wasn't about, he wasn't trying to, and I get why people worry about showing up, but are you allowed to show emotion in an 8th inning homer in a game that means a lot to your team when you haven't hit well for 3 months?
When I saw him do it, my first thought was, who's going to wear one tomorrow? Well, I mean, that's just the way that a lot of times it works its way out. Do it if you want, but, you know, that. And listen, you can understand being obviously super excited. You figure you just won the game.
And he's had the frustration for 3 months of not hitting, too. I think that's on top of it. He was 4 for 66 entering the day. So why not hit him instead of, I mean, if you're going to take your frustrations out on somebody. Well, I'm not saying it was intentional, but it certainly looked it.
It did run up and in. I mean, he said he had no chance.
Double play ball, but Lowry kicks it. They'll still not be able to turn it. Boy, I thought they still were going to have time because it was well struck off the bat. But Marcus Semien not able to make that relay in time, and give Ji-Man Choi credit for hustling down the line here.
Yeah, you know what? You see that from all these Rays hitters. This lineup, they play with a lot of energy, you know, a lot of enthusiasm. We've been talking about that all season long, but the way that they get out of the box, you know, Ji-Man Choi could have pulled up right there, you know, just out of frustration, figuring I just grounded into an inning double play, but instead he's busting it the whole way and takes advantage of the little miscue by Lowry.
Well, now can the Rays take advantage offensively, and C.J. Cron has homered twice in his career against Mike Fires, and of course leads the Rays in home runs this season. Fires again will give up the home run ball occasionally, 28 of them this season, despite the good numbers. I would think, even though CJ's hit the home run against him, that this would be tough because at times he has trouble laying off the high fastball.
Well, you see teams, trying to exploit that. We know that CJ Cron handles that ball middle of the plate, down and in. Loves with the high hands to drop the barrel right into the pitch.
And he got one there, way back and way gone. It's the home run ball again we talked about in the open. Rays are slugging in September.
And another one with a runner on. And look where they tried to go with the pitch. Middle of the plate, middle down. Like we said, that is the danger area. You stay out of there with CJ Cron at the plate. This is the result.
So the last 2 days, that's 7 runs on the home run ball. Lau, Bowers, and now Cron with men on. And the Rays do take advantage of that defensive mistake. That was a routine double play ball that wasn't turned. Brandon Lau, who hit the home run yesterday, now standing in. Good changeup from Fires. Well, good teams, and the Rays have been a really good team the last several weeks, take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, you give a good team an extra out, and a lot of times they make you pay. The Rays have been doing an awful lot of that here recently.
And we said that Fires is prone to give up the home run ball. I mean, although since he's been with Oakland, only one start has he given up more than 2 runs. That was against Seattle. Working on his 4th major league club, the A's. Lau got a hold of that one. Laureano playing shallow, long way to go. He's a tremendous outfielder, though, and he makes the play on the track, and that'll do it. Brandon gave it a long ride. It is an out, but CJ's could not be held, and the Rays have a 2-0 lead after 1. So far, giving the Rays a 2-0 lead in the first, and now the second Rays pitcher, Andrew Kittredge, facing Chris Davis. And you look at his player resume presented by Indeed. He hit his 40th homer as a DH to win Game 1 of this series. It's hard to believe that he and Big Papi are the only guys to do that in a given season. It's not easy to DH, to just hit, and again have to just sit on the bench and only worry about hitting. As Andrew Kittredge, fastball slider guy, gets ahead with his fastball against Chris Davis.
And I think the slider is going to be a big pitch here to Chris Davis. As we saw last night, the way that he will expand his zone and almost give away that slider that's down and away. He'll go after it, can't do much with it. And that's the pitch that if he's able to lay off of and force you out over the plate, he's got power to all fields. Home run total will tell you that.
The only guy in baseball with 40+ homers and 100+ runs batted in the last 3 seasons. Rolls over, though, there. Matt Duffy, an easy play. 1 down here in the second. Andrew Kittredge, you saw his numbers, an ERA just south of 7, but here in September, he has not allowed a single run, and he's actually pitching for the 3rd time in as many days, although last 2 days required to get just 1 batter and threw a total of 5 pitches. So he's good probably for an inning, maybe an inning plus today.
Well, and that's still not easy. To get up and get yourself ready to go get that one hitter. You may, even if you know that you're just going to face one guy, you still have to get yourself ready and be locked in to be able to go get that out. So to do that 3 days in a row, kind of some uncharted territory for Kittredge.
And this is a tough matchup for him. Matt Olson homered yesterday off Yanni Chirinos. He leads American League first baseman in home runs, and 23 of his 27 are against righties. There's the slider. When Andrew made his big league debut last year, he was much more of almost a 70-30 slider to fastball. He's been closer to an even mix this season. Rays shifting the infield to pull, and Olson says, I will take the bunt, and then says, no, thank you. Ball 3. I think the Rays would be happy if he wants to bunt for a base hit here rather than hit the ball out against what's a favorable matchup.
Especially in the count that he was in. Those kind of counts scare you even more than just the raw power.
Does that let you wonder a little bit what's going through a hitter's head at that point in time? I mean, you're looking to come back. I know he's probably thinking, hey, I get on. Stephen Piscotty can just as easily tie this game up. But I would think Olson's got to feel he's in a good count. It's not like he was doing it first pitch. And now he's full.
Well, I think you put it well the first time. The Rays would invite that. In a 2-0 count, Mr. Olson, if you'd like to lay down a bunt, gladly.
Andrew Kittredge with the slider in, and Olson takes, and he is the first base runner for the Oakland A's today. Well, this is a team that will score a lot of their runs via the home run ball and via the extra base hit. They're right at the top of the American League in terms of extra base hits. They've hit 203 home runs this season. Stephen Piscotty has not homered this series. In fact, he had a 14-game hit streak snapped in Game 1. But he does have 24 homers, the former Cardinal. Kittredge misses with the slider, and this is not a team you want to fall behind on. This is not an A's team that will run a lot. You see the short lead for Olson. Kittredge is pretty quick to the plate. Piscotty behind the fastball. 1-1.
Well, there you go. I mean, the New York Yankees obviously setting the pace at 240.
I wonder how many homers the A's would hit if they were in the Yankees park for 81 games. They might have more than New York.
Well, listen, with all of the guys that have the 20+, 25+ potential.
Potential double play ball. Adames, Lau, inning over. And the Rays keeping the A's off the board, keeping the ball on the ground. Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Tampa Bay Rays. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Kevin Kiermaier to lead off the home second. Rays up on the C.J. Cron first inning 2-run homer. Mike Fiers delivers upstairs and away. KK, I think, has really helped ignite the bottom portion of the offense and has really kind of found his stride in the last few weeks.
Well, and it's helpful too because he's a guy that can run into some home runs. He's going to bring speed and obviously athleticism to the base paths.
Got a chance to beat this one out. Chapman has a tremendous arm but can't hold on, and Kevin Kiermaier has an infield hit.
You knew that Oakland was in trouble with the ball off the bat, and the ball was not hit that hard, and that's why Matt Chapman, who may be the best defender in the game, regardless of position, is trying to cut off Semien. He was the only one that was going to be able to make this play. Spin and fire a bullet, and he just could not get there. And Kiermaier's hustle gets him a base hit.
We'll see if KK tries to run. Mike Fiers has only allowed 1 stolen base in 2 tries since he's come over to Oakland.
And we know that the Rays are aggressive on the base paths, even more so when they have the lead.
First pitch breaking ball to Willy Adames, who had yesterday off after a tough opening game of the series. Had a big strikeout with the bases full. Also had a couple of tough plays in the field.
I like that Kevin Cash, gives him a day. Just kind of catch your breath, get your feet back underneath you, and quick turnaround after last night, day game today, and get him right back out there.
This is probably a good matchup for him because Fiers does not have overpowering stuff too. Sometimes, at least early on, Willie had trouble getting to the big fastball.
Well, and you know what? That he also had his hands a little bit higher, and the swing would get a little bit longer. And anytime the swing starts to lengthen, you're going to have trouble with velocity.
Good fastball in the hands there.
Well, and that was a prime example of it. So he runs that fastball in. It's only 91, but the swing of Adames gets a little bit big, and he's just never going to be able to get there. And that's where you got to go back to what he's been working on with Chad Mottola. The hands in a little bit better hitting position and quicker through the zone, through the baseball.
Moving the feet of Adames, the count now 1-2. Rays after this game will head on the road. If they can win today, they pull to within 7 of Oakland. They'll take on Texas and Toronto in their final road trip of the season coming up. They don't have another day off until the end of the campaign. There, staying alive on the high fastball just barely, as Willie chasing out of the zone.
And after that high heater, this now begs, does Fiers come with the curveball below the zone? Does he come with that split change? You raise a hitter's eye level, you get him in swing mode, and then now all of a sudden now you try to lower it, and you lower the velocity at the same time.
Made a mistake with his breaking ball to Cron.
You're gonna hook him right here.
And a nice block by Lucroy to keep Kiermaier at first.
As a catcher, a strikeout off-speed pitch, especially a breaking ball, you've got to anticipate the ball in the dirt, and Jonathan Lucroy did a great job of it right there.
And on the other end, I just think the quality of the at-bats for the Rays yesterday and first couple innings today have really, really been sharp. And this is an A's team that's pitching as well as anyone in baseball since the All-Star break. Now, a lot of that's from their bullpen, but Fiers has been their most consistent starter. In fact, if they were to be in the wild card game, you could argue he would start if they use a starter. KK takes off, and he's got a great pitch to run on, and the Rays have a man in scoring position with nobody out.
Boy, trying to lull him to sleep there, hands on the knees, and he is off and running, and you're right, could not pick a better pitch to run on. A breaking ball, slow breaking ball in the dirt, gets in easily.
All right, now after being down in the count, Willie's worked it full and looking to get a productive out here as the Rays look to add to their early lead. And he'll be on base. Nice at bat. Didn't chase the fastball up and in there. And the Rays have 2 on an infield hit and a walk with nobody out for yesterday's hero.
See here in the early going that Mike Fiers really is struggling with his stuff and his command. And this is where the Rays need to take advantage of a vulnerable starting pitcher, and you can bet that if this continues, that bullpen for the Oakland A's is going to get busy in a hurry because Bob Melvin can't ill afford to wait around and let Mike Fiers find it.
For me, this is the at-bat of the inning because on deck, Jesus Sucre has not had a hit here in the month of September. His last hit was August the 23rd, so Jake wants to at least move the base runners up here. Yesterday, of course, in his last at bat, Kapow of Mr. Familia. And the Rays win at 7-5.
Yeah, that fastball right down the middle. That was an interesting inning because Familia was getting ahead of everybody. And then all of a sudden starts spraying balls around the zone, a couple of walks. They haunted him.
Good changeup by Fiers, evens the count. In fact, the homer came on an 0-2 pitch after Jake had chased early in the at-bat a fastball upstairs.
Yep.
Infield to pull, but not quite a shift on against Jake, who had his first 3-hit game since July 12th yesterday. That's before the All-Star break. And now he's up in the count, 2-1. To add to your point about Fiers and his stuff, 2 of 8 first pitch strikes for a guy who is 67% on the year.
And now that he's been hit, he's got some base runners, he continues to pick and nibble. And if the Rays can stay patient, they're going to get some really good counts to swing the bat.
And now it's 3-1 on Jake, and he's showing very good command of the strike zone at the plate. What are you looking for in this spot if you're Jake? Fastball middle in?
Wherever his juice zone is. He's got the count in his favor. So you're looking one pitch, one spot, wherever he likes it, and ready to turn it loose. And if it's not there, you take it, move on to the next one. He's gonna have to throw another one in there.
And it's bases loaded, nobody out on the walk to Bowers. This is a guy who does not walk guys, and he's walked back-to-back hitters.
Yeah, the command is not there. He's not been able to make the adjustment. It's going to earn him a visit here. And the Rays have a chance for a big inning and really put some distance between themselves and the A's.
Scott Emerson, the pitching coach. You can follow the Rays to the postseason on MLB.com for $25.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.tv to take advantage of this limited time offer. So the Rays have had 8 batters come to the plate, 5 have reached. And there's nobody warming in the Oakland bullpen with an 18-man pen right now. I mean, the A's are trying to catch the Yankees for that home wild card edge. They're only a game and a half back. This can get away quickly. Jesus Sucre is mentioned, last hit August the 23rd. 0 for 17 since.
So I say he's due.
Why not now? But it's lined into a double play as Adames went the wrong way. He thought that was through, and what looked to be a base hit off the bat is now 2 out and runners at the corners. That is a huge momentum change.
Wow, how unfortunate for the Rays. It did look like Sucre was going to inside out this ball the other way, maybe even for extra bases. But right down there at first base, you see Olsen able to make the grab, and then Willie Adames had sold out for third.
You got a freeze on the line drive and head back, and both he and Kiermaier came far off their respective bases. With nobody out, that's a risky play, and it cost the Rays Well, at least an out. We'll see how it changes the inning. Here's Malik Smith. The Rays got their runs last inning with 2 out, and they're going to need to come up with the 2-out hit here. I would say Fiers has to feel kind of lucky right now.
Well, and he's got to tell himself, and what he is telling himself is, look, I'm not out of this yet. I need to make some pitches. Certainly, that was a fortunate turn of events, but it's not over yet.
And you've got Malik Smith, who's been one of the Rays' best hitters this year at the plate. Comebacker last inning. He's been most comfortable in his home state of Florida. And again, falling behind is Mike Fiers. So he's 3 of 10 on first pitch strikes now. See the chain around his neck? Repping the state of Florida. And he's been best in the state of Florida. Hitting better than .370 in his home ballpark. Only Aaron Judge has hit better at home in the American League. That'll keep Bowers close. As well as Malik handles the bat, is this a possible hit and run count? Open up a hole for Malik on the infield? Or would you even try and do that with 2 down?
I think I'd just let Malik. I mean, Malik has a tendency to open up his own holes. Now, it doesn't mean that the Rays won't be aggressive on the base paths, but the way that Malik is able to spray the ball around the infield, use the left side, something that's become more of a focus for him, you've really seen his offensive game blossom.
It's amazing how shallow both Laureano is in center field right now and Martini is in left. And if they had the burst still, he'd be way in front of the burst in center. Bowers started, then stopped, and the count even.
You know, everything is spray chart nowadays, but it used to be, you know, you talk to the good pitchers, and they used to say, I'd prefer my outfielders in because I want them to take away the little bloop where I make my pitch, because I'm going to make my pitch. Take away the bloop off the end of the bat, the jam shot that falls in. Take that one away. If a guy barrels me and it gets over your head, well, that's my fault. I'd rather have you shallow and trust that I'm not going to find the barrel of the bat.
I'm just thinking, if you line a ball over the head of the second baseman, I mean, that ball's going to scoot so fast on the turf. I mean, Malik's going to be standing on third before Laureano gets to it. And he's got a really good job of getting to the barrel as he fouls one straight back. Best for the Rays in terms of line drive percentage, and 7th in the American League, 25%. Huge at bat in this game. I mean, I know it's only the second inning, but you had bases loaded, none out. Huge momentum change if you don't score. Bowers almost got leaning. In fact, I think he was going to go there. Jesus Sucre with the line drive double play for the first 2 outs of this inning, and Malik Smith trying to pick he and the Rays up here. Bowers will go, and another good pitch to run on. That's the second stolen base of the inning, both on breaking balls in the dirt.
Well, and both in put-away counts, and they know that Mike Fiers likes to go to the slower breaking ball to try to put a guy away. So either you know something, see something, or you are guessing correctly, but the A's have not had a chance. And we remember from earlier in this series, Jonathan Lucroy, the catch and throw, he has been gunning people at second base.
5th stolen base for Bowers, and now a base hit would double the Rays' lead. Fiers is taking an eternity between pitches, too. You can see he just doesn't have a rhythm out there. And again, a breaking ball in the dirt, and Malix will not chase. So now it's gone full, and you got Matt Duffy waiting on deck.
Well, I'm sure we'd like a little revenge after taking a fastball to the ribs. Or payback.
Well, it's up to Malix to give him that opportunity.
Bob Melvin has to be extremely concerned with what he's seeing this afternoon from Fiers, who has been so good for this team, but is so off his game here early on.
Again, he had with 7 walks and 7 starts with Oakland coming in. He's walked 2 in this inning, and he's in danger of walking a 3rd. An eternity between pitches, too. And that's the 3rd walk of the inning, and the bases are reloaded.
It's a guy who's unsure. It's a guy who's unsure with either what he wants to do or how he's going to be able to make the adjustment, because mechanically he is way off.
Well, you get a chance for revenge 1 inning later. This is a game of redemption. And now bullpen activity will finally begin for the Oakland A's. Emilio Pagan starting to get loose. Again, they've got 18 guys in that bullpen. I'm kind of surprised it took this long. Question is, can the Rays add to their 2-0 advantage here? The Crone homer last inning. And here's Duffy. Well located fastball there. So finally Fiers gets ahead. Ten batters faced, more than half of them have reached, but only 2 have crossed. Fiers trying to pull the Houdini this inning. And now the count even. It doesn't appear he has any pitch he can count on right now, BA.
No, and that's where it becomes scary out on that mound, where you really feel isolated, is when you don't really have a go-to pitch like you're talking about. The breaking balls, those have all fallen short. The slider got hit out of the ballpark. The fastball, spotty at best. Just another one there.
That was the 25th pitch of the inning for Mike Fiers. Infield spread wide apart on Duffy, who is a spray hitter. And this should end the inning. Simeon, and that'll do it. And the Rays waste a great opportunity. Bases loaded, not out, but Fiers walks off with the game still at 2-0. Soon, Neil Solondz with Brian Anderson. Time now for the Toyota Inside Look, and you see what's remaining for these two clubs. Seattle still thinks they're in it, but that's the only contender the A's have to face. Of course, the Rays have some games against New York, which is just in front of Oakland for the top wild card. Bottom of the order here in the third for Oakland, and Ramon Laureano behind in the count as the Rays get more bullpen activity going. This is a critical half inning, I think, BA, for the Rays. They had bases loaded, none out, didn't score in the second, as Kittredge throws a sharp slider to get up 0-2. Now you want a quick inning to get some momentum back on your side after, again, you squandered a great chance.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, you know, Kittredge was not a part of that. He's just got to go out there and do his job, try to do it as efficiently and quickly as he can. But certainly that last half inning hurt, and you hope that you don't speak about it again, because if the bottom of the second is talked about later in this game, then things aren't where you'd like them to be.
Laureano stays alive. Hunter Wood is warming in the Rays bullpen. Hunter's not pitched in a game in 9 days.
Anytime you come across a guy who's had that much time off, the first thing that you're going to think about is how sharp will he be.
As Andrew Kittredge, now even with Laureano, you're also wondering here about Kittredge. This is his second inning, and granted, one batter each of the last 2 days, but it's still his third day in a row pitching. And he also sat for an extremely long time in the dugout while Fiers worked out of that second. Look toward the gap. Nice jump, though, by Malik Smith, and there's one down. That hung up there just long enough for Malik, who I think has gotten better defensively in terms of his routes. He took a really good angle on that ball.
Well, that's the key. You know, when you're out there working all the time, and certainly Malik has got a lot of reps out in the outfield, different positions, a lot of time out in right field now, but it's all about the jump. Read the ball off the bat and be as efficient in your route as possible, and then let your speed make up for anything extra on that ball.
Marcus Semien, here comes Kiermaier, and he makes the grab, and there's two down. So there's two quick outs. Those balls were hit fairly sharply by both Laureano and Semien. And again, you wonder how much gas Kittredge has, but again, he just needs one more, and the number 9 hitter and catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. I would think if the lineup turns over, we'll probably see Hunter Wood. Well, if you can make this a quick inning, it puts a lot of pressure on Fiers since he threw 26 pitches last frame. And Kittredge pumping in the strikes. And now it's 0-2. You know, coming into this game, normally this is the day we would see Jalen Beeks follow Diego Castillo. But this is an Oakland team that is very righty heavy. And it looks like the Rays are going to try and go with more right-handers today against that righty-laden lineup.
Yeah, it becomes much like this entire series. It's all about the matchups. If Kevin Cash doesn't feel comfortable with Jalen Beeks with all of these right-handed power hitters, then he's going to stick with the righties. So, you know, we will wait and see, but it certainly seems like that's the lean right now.
Or at least to try and open up this game and then maybe bring them out there.
Yeah, everything's got a contingency plan, there's no doubt.
Lucroy staying alive. Well, the Rays only went once through the order with Ryan Yarbrough the other night, and that's the other, you want to call them bulk lefties or follower lefties that they have. They went long with Chirinos yesterday, a right-hander, as you get a look at Ryan Yarbrough. Heck, with only 2 innings, they could use him situationally to get a lefty today if they need to. Should be a play for Crone. Long run, though, and he can't make it. I think he went into his slide a little bit early there. Probably had a little more time.
Yeah, he definitely did, and that's exactly what he's thinking right now. There's no doubt he had room to spare, and he goes into the knee slide right there, thinking he was closer than he actually was to that little railing in front of the dugout.
When you not quite shift, but when you're playing as far wide off the bag as he is, there's a lot of room or a lot of ground to cover, and sometimes you might lose your sense of quite where you are, because as a first baseman, you rarely have to run that distance. Good slider by Kittredge, and he has retired 5 of the 6 batters he's faced and faced the minimum in his 2 frames. So the Rays maintain their 2-0 lead. Over the ace in the 3rd. Mike Fiers on the hill for Oakland, and this is his 4th team at the big league level. He threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers about 3 years ago, and the A's have yet to lose one of his starts. Again, a Florida guy who went to community college and then Southeastern University. As G-Man Choi says, you want to give me the bunt? I'll take it. Instead, he took a breaking ball for strike 1. Curious if Fiers settles down after getting out of the bases loaded, none out opportunity in the 2nd. G-Man Choi just got underneath one. Viscotti and Laureano, and the center fielder Laureano with the play. 1 down here in the 3rd. Here's the hero so far for the Rays and C.J. Cron. He got a hanging breaking ball in the 1st inning that's accounted for the only runs. It came on a 2-out swing right after the A's didn't turn a double play. Breaking ball down.
Wrong neighborhood. Wrong neighborhood. C.J. Cron likes the ball down.
Now ahead in the count. I would think that Fiers is going to pitch pretty carefully to CJ as long as he's out there. Now that is 3 home runs in 16 at bats for Cron against Fiers.
And don't think that that is a stat lost on Mike Fiers. He knows exactly how many home runs CJ Cron has hit off of him. Going to go try to find another area that's a little bit more beneficial for him.
Hits it sharply. It's a foul ball, though, and Chapman would have turned that into an out. He is gifted as they come. Leads all players in WAR defensively in Major League Baseball. And look at the range here. I know it's a foul ball, but wow.
And then, you know, how quickly he's going to get rid of it. Not going to try to get too much into the throw. Just get it over there. Know who's running, know who hit it.
It's a pretty good 3-step drop.
Some teams that could use him right now.
I won't mention their names. I know a few as well. Got in on the hands of CJ. It's underneath us. Hunter Wood continues to worm in the Rays bullpen, and it looks like he'll be the third Tampa Bay pitcher in the fourth. So the Rays piecing this together, so far turning it into a bullpen day instead of a bulk day for Jalen Beeks, at least to this point. Here's Fires, and that time the fastball up was chased by C.J. Cron. We talked about it in his first at bat, and Fires there executed better.
Well, and this one way up. Didn't think he'd go after that. You're talking around the neck. And C.J. Cron, his anxiousness got the better of him there.
A first strikeout for Fires today, and it's his 13th batter of the day. Now we see if he settles down a bit as Brandon Lau comes up. He flied to very deep left center field his first time. Just got a hair underneath one. And homered yesterday. Now still for Fires, here we are 50 pitches in. He's got nearly as many balls as strikes.
That speaks to the early struggles.
But he's going to get a 1-2-3 inning. Marcus Semien under it. And the Rays, for the first time today, down in order. So it's still just a 2-0 Rays lead after 3. Home voucher to take to Kane's Furniture within 7 days and receive a coupon for 2 free tacos and chips at participating area Tijuana Flats locations. Restrictions apply. So far the Rays with 3 strikeouts through 3, and Hunter Wood is the third pitcher of the day for Tampa Bay. You see his numbers. Has not pitched since September 7th at against Baltimore, right at the beginning of the homestand. There was a first pitch fastball on the hands of Nick Martini to begin this 4th inning.
Well, I say he was effective, though. Worked an inning, punched out 3.
Yep.
You thought that would have earned him another outing between then and now.
Well, you never know when you got that many pitchers on a roster. Uses his curveball, and even though he has a pretty full mix for a guy who's pitching 1-2 innings at a time. He's a former starter who hasn't really given anything up, and I really like his fastball curveball combination because there's a huge discrepancy in terms of velocity. Up ran 94, 95 down to 75. They're a fastball at 96, so maybe all that extra time off, he's got a little extra in the tank.
Well, you know, we've seen that since he transitioned to the bullpen. We have seen that fastball start to climb a little bit with the velocity. And the thing about that combination, when you talk about a good 12-6 slower curveball with depth, that they complement each other so well. The fastball up, the curveball down. You can use the fastball to set up the curve or vice versa.
Kevin Kiermaier moving back into his right. 1 down here in the 4th. And so far the Rays have faced the minimum with a 2-0 lead. The only base runner was Matt Olson, who walked in the second. And Hunter, with that, you mentioned the breaking ball, fastball, and how that works. For a hitter, a lot of times it's tough to recognize the difference between a four-seam fastball and a curveball, right?
Yeah, especially the 12-6. You know, the ones that really spin and have that up and down break, there's no doubt out of the hand. If there's no little bounce out of the hand, you know, there are some guys that throw a curveball where it'll hop out of the hand. So the ball will start up a little bit before it starts to spin and come back down. But if it comes out of the hand straight, that spin, whether it's spinning top to bottom or bottom to top, is tough to pick up early on. And that's where hitters get into some trouble.
They're a slider from what we told you has a real assortment of pitches. He's got 2 breaking balls. You rarely see a guy pitch in relief, even in multi-inning roles, that has 2 breaking balls.
You usually don't have time to get to both of them. You're not out there long enough.
That breaking ball rode a little bit high. Hasn't thrown the fastball yet to Chapman. Yesterday, he had a home run off Sergio Romo that's still going to dead center field. Grounded to short his first time today. Crone gives it a look, but the count now even as that lands over the Rays dugout. It's 2-2 on Matt Chapman, who's been one of the, I would say, what, 3 hitters in this A's lineup who's had fairly consistent at-bats the last few days. But the Rays have done a pretty good job with almost everybody in the A's lineup this year. Chapman now is 6 for 26 against Rays pitching. I mean, we're talking about a guy who you could argue is the A's MVP with the second half he's had and how good he is defensively. Now a full count. He got 2 fastballs yesterday back-to-back from Romo. And that was the second one. You rarely see the back of Kevin Kiermaier's uniform number. Adames with a nice waist high hop. 2 down. Had him off stride there.
Well, and you got to try to pull that pitch that was on the outer edge of the plate. Anytime you can get a guy to pull that, and that's why you talk about using the whole field. But Chapman, you know, more of a power guy, and he sees a ball that's up in the zone. He wants to pull for power, and instead he tops it and rolls over.
And here's Jed Lowry, who's one of the strikeout victims so far. He fanned against Diego Castillo in the opening inning. Castillo went 2, or rather 1. Kittredge went 2. Move the feet. Again, this is the stronger side for Lowry. 18 of his 21 homers from the left side, and you see the Rays shifting to pull. Sharply hit off the bat of Lowry, but foul. Generally speaking, the Rays, for most of this year, when they have shifted, they have put the shortstop in the hole in that middle of the triangle almost. Really good fastball from Hunter Wood. That's got a little extra bite to it. Again, one of the 22 rookies on the club.
Good enough that Sucre couldn't handle it.
This is not easy for a catcher, too. You're a third pitcher to deal with in 4 innings. Got to have knowledge about every guy on the staff, as well as the lineup they're facing. First base hit chance for Lowry, but it just went foul down the left field side.
Boy, fortunate right there for the Rays, too, because that would have been extra bases. That ball kind of floating as it broke his bat. He ends up floating just foul.
So fortunate break for the Rays that it faded at the finish. Lowry, most veteran player on this A's team, 35 years of age. He is, I wouldn't say a career year, but it's one of his better seasons. Really good breaking ball in on the hands, just missed.
Well, and you've got Visconti behind the plate, and he's set up in off the plate, so he's looking at that pitch directly and able to recognize that it came in off the plate.
And Jansen Visconti is a very young umpire. Seen a lot of new members to Cruz this year. 2-2 breaker is fouled off, and Lowry doing a terrific job to stay alive against Hunter Wood. Again, the C.J. Cron homer in the first with 2 out after Lowry didn't turn a double play is the difference in this game. A's just looking for a base runner. Easy play. Adames. And the Rays have not allowed a hit through the first 4 innings. Hunter Wood, the latest to pitch a 1-2-3 frame. In the September playoff push, Deanna Navarro with a walk-off single off Justin Masterson. It scored Jason Bartlett in the bottom of the ninth, and the Rays beat Boston 2-1. And the attendance for that playoff preview that day, 32,079. Remember that game well?
I don't remember that game well, but I ask you this. Why, you know, a walk-off single when it was a ground rule double? You got to give it hopped over the fence. You got to give him the ground rule double, don't you? I mean, if it's a homer, it's not a ground walk-off single. That's a legitimate double.
You're going to put that complaint in with the league office? 10 years is the...
Well, like I said, I mean, if it short hops the wall, okay, yeah, you get your base, it bounced over the wall. That's by rule, a ground rule double.
I'm just surprised to see a pitcher, as KK up in the count 2-1, rooting for an extra base against the pitcher. That's a higher slugging against, and you're
I'm all about just being accurate.
Okay.
Just be right. Get it right.
I've always liked that about you, DA. As Kiermaier even in the count to open the Rays fourth.
And if you don't like the fact that it's a double as a pitcher, don't give it up.
As James Shields once said, pitch better. Well, Mike Fiers pitched better last inning. He had a 9-pitch frame after throwing 42 in the first 2 innings and leaving the bases loaded in the second. The Rays had a great chance to blow it open. And Kiermaier down on strikes. That's the best curveball Fiers has thrown today. And that's not good news for the Rays if that's the case.
Well, that's what you're afraid of. And we've talked about that time and again throughout the course of a season. When you've got a guy vulnerable and on the ropes early and you let him off the hook, the fear is that he's going to at some point settle in. And this curveball, you hope that is not the sign, because he had a quick inning and finally he's getting that pitch, which is a big pitch for him, now over the plate and using it to get outs.
Willie Adames walked his first time. He is ahead in the count, though. He still hasn't found his fastball, but that curveball looked like a wiffle ball coming out of the hand. Willie had a pretty big play in that second inning. He was doubled off on a Jesus Sucre line drive. It was bases loaded, none out at the time. Both he and Kiermaier kind of strayed from their bags. They threw to second, to get the trail runner. Rays eventually reloaded the bases, and then Matt Duffy grounded out. So it was a whole lot of nothing in that inning, despite all the base runners. Really just a hair late to that fastball.
Well, the Rays, well documented, aggressive on the base paths, and sometimes because of their youth, maybe cross that line from time to time and give away too many outs on the base paths. But you're going to get that. If you're going to be aggressive out there running the bases and you're a young team, they are going to run into some outs, unfortunately. It's part of the learning curve.
Now even on Adames and Willie and the Rays certainly have learned a lot during the course of their season. Of course, Willie was part of a AAA championship team last year for the Durham Bulls, and congrats to Jared Sandberg and the Bulls. They won the International League crown again yesterday, repeating for the first time since 02-03. So congrats to all involved with that club. A lot of them who are in this Rays dugout right now.
Well, and doing it all on the road too. All those games moved to Scranton
because of Florence.
Yep.
As you get a look at the numbers, last night, Durham advancing to the AAA National Championship game as Adames stays alive. One of the heroes in that game, kind of the neat part of the story, was Joe McCarthy, who's a Rays prospect who was injured a good part of the season. He had 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 ribbies, and he's from Scranton. Ooh, how about that?
That is nice.
We'll take that.
Yeah, what a night.
As Adames continues to fight against Mike Fiers on the high fastball.
Now we'll see how he feels about the curveball, because he's got it set up perfectly to go to right now, and let's see if the confidence is continuing to grow in that pitch. He shook it off.
And threw the changeup instead, and that changeup kind of sat up too.
It did. It did. That one hung in the middle of the plate. You know, the first pitch that Lucroy went to was the curveball, and then all of a sudden you see him go to the other. So that tells you right there that Mike Fiers said, not yet.
What does he go to here?
Let you know right now.
Well, went back to back with the changeup. So are there times where if you're a pitcher, you may feel comfortable throwing that breaking ball to one-sided hitter like a lefty like Kiermaier, but not to the righty?
Yeah, and that may be it. The curveball to the lefties right now, because he can drop it.
And he dropped that one way back and gone for Willie Adames on a high fastball. And it's 3-0 Rays. Maybe he should have gone to the curve. Number 9 for the Rays rookie. All the runs on the homer off Fiers, who now has given up 30 this year.
And the Rays continue to hit them. That's the thing. This is not a home run hitting team by any stretch, but boy, they have made them count here over the last couple of weeks, and Willie jumped that heater.
RBI number 26. That'll make up for a base running faux pas. Jake Bowers sees a first pitch slider. So Fiers still not quite on his game as the Rays tack on another. That's a pretty big run right now. A little more space.
It takes away the bloop in the blast.
I mean, to the novice fan, it may not feel like much, but you know from playing 2-0 and 3-0, or 2 runs and 3 runs is huge.
It is, because it forces the other team to have to put together an inning, not have, you know, a miscue, a bloop hit, and then the next guy runs into a home run. We know this Oakland team, that's well documented, can hit a ton of home runs, but now you actually have to put together an inning, and that's a little more difficult to do.
I wonder if Willie had some of that applesauce today.
That might be all they serve on the plane ride to Dallas-Fort Worth.
If you missed the story, Brandon Lau, when he really got hot in AAA, he was in Indianapolis, and he picked up a package of applesauces and suddenly started hitting home runs. As Bowers rolls over on one, fires covering, and there's 2 down. As we get to T-Mobile's Built for Baseball time here, and we got a look at Willie Adames with the long blast. Well, he got the head out on that fastball too.
Yeah, like he was sitting on it. T-Mobile Built for Baseball right there, built for a 3-run lead. Almost like he was banking on the fact, okay, he wanted me to chase off speed below the zone. He's going to climb the ladder again. I'm going to beat him to the spot.
Smart. If that was the case. Jake Bowers, by the way, got the little applesauce from Brandon Lau yesterday and hit the home run. So who knows? Maybe Willie got one too today. Hopefully we find out in the postgame show as Jesus Sucre takes a strike. Who knew that applesauce was so powerful?
Well, that's what's great about this game. Not that anybody's superstitious or anything.
Not
Just
at all.
it is funny. And you know what it is? I don't think it's superstitious. Maybe for some guys it is, but it's more routine than anything. And you go with what works. And if that's what you had for dinner on that particular day or for a snack that particular day, you go out and have a monster game, well, yeah, you got to double up.
Sucre down in the count 1-2. Well, look, you go back to the first year of the Rays. Wade Boggs was known for chicken. He lived on chicken.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Mostly. There's the hit Jesus Sucre was seeking, his first hit in the month of September. Well, he just missed it his first time. Nice to see him just shoot that ball the other way with 2 strikes.
A lot of hits over there.
And after a 9-pitch 3rd inning, this will be the 24th pitch of the 4th inning for Fiers. So he's had 2 innings of, I don't know if I'd call them fully high stress, but when you're nearing 25, 26 pitches an inning, that takes a lot of starch out of you. And we'll see that A's bullpen get going once again for the 2nd time today.
I'll tell you something else. Also, when you're fighting yourself mechanically and not being as efficient as you need to be, it's going to take a physical toll, as well as mental, because you're just not able to get the pitches where you need to.
Alex Smith able to jackknife out of the way there. As you see the lefty Ryan Buchter getting loose, one of just 2 lefties they have in that A's bullpen. Only 2 out of 18. Do they have a thing against lefties? You wouldn't fit in there so well.
Well, you know what? Actually, I would. They need another spot for a lefty.
What do you got left? Because that one's outside, and it's 2-0 on Malix.
You can see with Mike Fiers' delivery too that there are some moving parts. You know, he really has a long arm swing, tries to get that front side strong and up to create some leverage to work downhill eventually. And so one little thing, you know, you start to get a little bit side to side, you start to fly open just a little bit.
Two and one now as Malix taking the fastball. Again, Rays now with 4 hits, 2 of them homers. And a 3-0 lead. The 2-run homer by C.J. Cron in the first, and Willie Adames here in the 4th. Malix chasing the high fastball there. Every time it looks like Mike Fiers is teetering on the brink. In the 2nd, he found a way back, and now trying to find his way back here in the 4th. We still may see the A's go to the bullpen after this, because their bullpen has been that good this season, especially with all the extra arms they have here in September. Two misses, and that'll give Jesus Sucre a running start. Now he still probably needs a running start to score from first on a triple. But at least he's got a chance maybe to go first to third on a base hit.
He's looking forward to it, I guarantee you. 3-2, I know I'm running. Let's go.
Should be an easy play for Martini of Oakland. He's got it in his mitts, but the Rays add to their lead. Willie Adames climbs the ladder for homer 9. And the Rays looking to win a series up 3-0 after 4. brought to you by your Southern Chevy dealers, by El Dorado Furniture, a different kind of furniture store for over 50 years, and by your local Ford dealers. Not a bad day to be out on the water in Tampa Bay. So far, not a bad day to be at Tropicana Field for the Rays. We're trying to catch the A's in the wild card hunt. This is Hunter Wood, the Rays' third pitcher of the day. He had a 1-2-3 fourth inning. He gets the middle part of the order here in the fifth. Willie Adames with an impressive home run to push the Rays' lead to 3-0. All the runs on the homer. And Chris Davis trying to get one on the board for Oakland, but he falls just a little bit shy as Jake Bauers makes the play. One pitch, one out here in the fifth. That was a breaking ball that hung, but Davis was just a hair off stride.
That was exactly the reason that ball stayed in the ballpark. Just was not in sync with the swing, a little bit out in front, some of the power gone, and ends up going to the warning track.
That's gone in New York though, right?
No.
Maybe?
No.
Not pulled enough.
Yeah, well, exactly, because left center field in New York is forever.
Right field, it's gone. It's in the upper deck as that pitches a strike to Matt Olson.
Oh, the Rays pitching.
Hampton Yards, it's out.
Yeah, well, perhaps 364 is what it's listed as.
Listed.
And it may not be that far. You're right.
Matt Olson with the first base hit of the day for the Oakland A's. It comes with one out in the fifth. He got a breaking ball, and it hung a little bit. That's the second breaking ball. Again, this is Wood's first action in 9 days. First inning was pretty crisp.
And you know, and so at that point you feel like, look, if you're able to go out there, you're worried about a guy not being sharp, you know, from his first pitch. But if he goes out there, has a sharp, crisp, you know, inning, then that's who he's going to be that day. You end up missing a couple of pitches after that. It's not for the layoff. It's just you missed your pitches.
Stephen Piscotty behind the fastball of Wood, which there was down to 93. We saw 96 in his first inning. Olson not a threat to run. You know, this is an A's team that wouldn't say has lived and died by the home run, but because they've had a lot of doubles, they certainly live by the extra base hit. As the slider misses from Wood. Well, is that easier to shut down a team like that, as good as they can be as a group and as deep as their lineup is?
You know what? When you have the weapons as far as pitchers go that the Rays have, I wouldn't say that it's easy, but it's easier because you have got a lot of quality arms that are fully capable of executing a game plan, and we have seen that all season long. You know, they're always going to be well prepared. Kyle Snyder does a great job of getting these guys the information that they need to know where they need to pitch these hitters, and the Rays pitchers are very good at getting to the right areas. And when you lean so heavily on the long ball, or even the extra base hit, you open yourself up to holes in the swing. And this entire series, the Rays have done a great job of exploiting those holes.
Potential double play ball. Duffy to Lau. Crone can't dig it out. We'll see if that costs the Rays. Off the bat, I thought that's a double play.
Well, it had to be quick around there because of how far the ball had to travel. You're going to see it right here to Duffy. He's got to range a little bit to his left, then get it started to Lau, who's stepping off the back edge. And they would have just got him by half a step and should have got him, but that's one of those double plays that didn't get enough into the throw as he wanted because of where he ended up. You know, if you feel that ball from Duffy crossing over second base and can plant your feet, but he's catching it moving behind the bag, and now you're not really stepping into the throw like you'd like to.
And the reason that throw was bounced in is, here's Ramon Laureano. Nice block by Sucre. Well, in the first inning, the Rays took advantage of a double play that wasn't turned and then hit a 2-run homer, C.J. Crone, for the 2-0 lead. Certainly you hope Hunter Wood can maybe roll another ground ball here. Rays trying to win another series and finish off a 7-2 homestand. And when you consider 2 of the 3 teams they're facing are first place clubs, that would be awfully impressive. That ball off Sucre's glove should be a pass ball, and Piscotty will round second now and hold there. I think Jesus would be the first to tell you he's got to do a better job on a ball like that. Pass ball it is. So now you've had a double play not turned and a pass ball. And the A's threatening for the first time in this game is more bullpen activity for Tampa Bay. Adam Kolarek is the left-hander getting loose. I would think for the top of the order and Nick Martini, although the A's still have some righties on their bench like Chad Pinder and Mark Hanna that I would assume that Kevin Cash would like to force them to use. See here if Wood can get these next couple batters and get out of this inning with nothing across. Piscotty or Laureano with 5 homers since coming up from AAA Nashville. Watches the slider just outside. This is a guy who the Astros kind of gave up on, and he's been an incredible find for Oakland. Big part of the reason they have gone on the run they've gone on. 35-17 since the break, 56-23 their last 79. Laureano, he's kind of been a spark plug. Thought he had ball 4. Instead, he'll see at least another. Got action in both bullpens now, with Kolarek going for the Rays. Wood checking on Piscotty. And this should be fairly playable, but carrying on Malik Smith. And he makes the catch on the track, and that'll do it. So a scoreless frame for Hunter Wood, despite the double play not turned. Pre-game show presented by your local Honda dealers. The race in Texas to take on the Rangers. We'll hear from Tyler Glasnow, who is the starting pitcher. And then Orestes will break down Adrian Beltre, elected to stay with the Rangers this season. A tough season in Texas. We'll see if the Rays can take the heat and continue their winning ways. I've got a new look on the mound for the A's, at least in terms of hair.
Wow.
Mike Fiers is out. Corey Guerin is in.
Look at that. That, I'll tell you, that's impressive. That brings back the memories, the 80s, mid-80s. Sunset Strip, the whiskey.
Do I want to know about
Whiskey
your
a Go-Go?
Yes.
Yeah, the Troubadour. The Rainbow Bar and Grill.
Favorite hair band?
That's where they hung out.
Guerin's third team this year is Matt Duffy, the first guy to season. Fouls went off.
You know, next season, the Rays schedule has come out, and they go out and have a weekend series in Anaheim against the Angels with a day off, and then a 2-game series against the Dodgers up in LA. And so there's a real good chance on that day off that I'm going to visit those 3 haunts. Real good chance.
Favorite band from that
Well, Guns N' Roses.
Okay. There's some people will like others.
Who could possibly like anybody else?
Some people don't call them a true hair band because they were more hard rock. I mean, they're different from like the Poisons and the...
Oh, yeah. They didn't go with the makeup. Now, they did tease their hair early on. You know, if you see the Welcome to the Jungle video, Axl's hair's poofed. But then after that, they went Bad Boys of Rock and Roll, most dangerous band in the world style.
Good to go back to the 80s for a few minutes here. And 90s.
It's a great place to be.
It's Matt Duffy behind in the count 1 and 2.
As I'm driving to the airport, I will get into the car, and if I'm going to listen to talk satellite radio, yeah, but you know, the number one preset is Hair Nation.
Got it. Is that what you listen on the way in?
No, it branches off significantly from there, but that's the go-to. That's where it starts. Then you may go to Turbo, you may go to Lithium. That's 90s. Then you may go to, who knows, MLB radio.
I was kind of, I think it's almost ironic that your preset coming to the ballpark is Hair Nation for a guy with no hair on the top of his head.
Another reason to love Hair Nation. I appreciate
There's
all
no
sorts
jealousy?
of hair now. No, I had my shot at it.
Okay.
Wasn't that good. It left.
My hair isn't that good. I just don't have it.
Which is, see, that's, so it means you have a chance, Neil. You have a chance. You can make it good. I can't make mine anything.
Matt Duffy right to his counterpart at third. Chapman line to line. Boy, that's a bullet and one gone. Pretty good stuff so far for the Rays.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's like seeing how it's football season. You know, they talk about Bill Belichick and one of the best football coaches out there, and what he likes to do is take away what you do well, and that's what the Rays have done in this series against the Oakland A's. You know, so dependent on the extra base hit and the long ball. They've taken that away. You know, the Rays are one of the best teams in all of Major League Baseball, limiting home runs, limiting the extra base hit, and they have done another great job of that in this series, and they put themselves in position to win this series.
And just one single so far for Oakland, and the Rays on top 3-0 is Ji-Man Choi still looking for his first hit in the series, facing Corey Guerin. We mentioned this is his third club this year. He has been with Texas, the team the Rays will face next, and San Francisco. So he's gone up to California. I don't know if he got to see his hair bands up there, but his hair is prime.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, if you've got the opportunity, hey, the Rays have some guys that could fire out some hair. Hunter Wood, Ryan Stanek.
Chaz Rowe's not bad.
Chaz Cornrow there for a few days last week.
G-Man a little behind that sinking fastball.
Yeah, look at
There's
that.
a look.
Look at that.
No cornrows today.
No, he took him out a couple of days ago.
His hair game is pretty good, though. It's a good competition between those two guys and Hunter Wood.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what. I tip my hat more than anything else is the fact that you can have that kind of hair all summer long here in Florida.
It is tough.
Oh, boy.
It's a good thing you have 81 games indoors. Actually 90 when you count the games against the Blue Jays. And more than that, if you look at Houston, I mean, there's enough games in domes now where I guess it's possible. It's not easy when you have to leave the house.
No. Well, yeah, you're outside, you know, for a good portion of the day, or at least away from the ballpark. I guess that's where you twirl it up into a man bun, come on into the ballpark, and then let it flow.
Things I would not know about. Man buns, that is. I just never had enough hair to do
them.
it. Choi now ahead in the count, 3-1. Again, Rays on top 3-0. They have beat the A's at their game. The extra base hit, the home run ball by Crone. There you see him on deck in the first. A 2-run shot, his 27th. And then the blast by Willie Adames last inning. Mike Fiers last frame. Choi got into this one. Martini going back, and he reaches up and makes the grab. Took away an extra base hit from Ji-Man Choi, and there's two down here in the fifth. Well, that was well done.
And Ji-Man Choi making a bid. Well struck, and a little backhand, a little leap at the end. You know you're getting close to that wall. I see that one quick little peek.
And this is not a place where, again, with the daytime dome, where you can take much of a look off the ball or you're going to lose it.
We talk about that all the time, and especially with these visiting players. The whole goal and what you really need to do is the eyes cannot leave the ball, but that had enough of a line drive action to it. Wasn't right up in the dome.
C.J. Cron now is 2 for 3 on the day with a homer and a single as Martini plays it in. Well struck against Corey Guerin. Got a fastball and took it right in the left center. CJ had been in a bit of a batting slump, just 2 for 15 on the homestand before today. And here's Brandon Lau, who homered yesterday. Brandon actually was, obviously he's had a really good run with the Rays, but he was thrilled that Durham team ended up winning a championship because he's one of those guys who had yet to win a ring. And I don't know about you, BA, but for me, all the winning the Rays are doing in the minor leagues, it's that winning breeds winning mentality where guys learn how to win at the lower levels and they bring it forward with them to the big leagues.
Yeah, there's something to be said for winning and learning to win and winning championships. I don't care what level you're at. To those guys in AAA, that's a big deal to them. That's a AAA championship, a lot of pressure, every pitch matters, trying to win that ring, trying to win that championship. It can only help them out here when they get to the next level.
I chatted with Diego Castillo before the game, who opened for the Rays with Manny Navarro, the Rays interpreter, and I said, do you think that helped you winning last year? And he said, yes. He said, what I thought was most interesting, we learned how little our own stats mean, and all it is about finding a way to win on that day. And to know that before you get to the big leagues when you're trying to survive up here, to me is incredibly important. I don't know if you feel the same.
Oh, I know, I absolutely do. Learn how to be selfless, learn how to move the runner, learn how to bow out, let someone come in and get the job done.
Learn how to pitch in the first inning of games.
Yeah, never know when you're going to be needed. Just answer the bell. And the way that you do that, the way you get guys to buy into that is communication, open lines of communication. Kevin Cash and his staff have been masterful.
As a wild pitch to the screen, moves a man into scoring position for Brandon Lau. C.J. Cron moves up 90 feet.
They have been great with that all season long, whether it's, it's been twofold too. You've had to have open lines of communication with the Rays pitchers on the plan and how guys are going to be used and who needs to be ready, who's going to be the bulk guy, who's going to open all of a sudden. And at the same time, look at the lineup that Kevin Cash has had to run out there. He's got a lot of different options, and on any given day, he's got a lot of quality options still on the bench, and he's got to be able to maneuver those guys, get them in the lineup, keep guys sharp. Again, takes communication.
And I think that depth, as Lau now up in the count 3-1 here, I think that depth has kept guys fresh through the second half of the season. They're resting Joey Wendell and Tommy Pham today. They rested Willie Adames yesterday. I think guys, the day off every now and then is helping a lot of guys.
Yeah. And think about who you just said they're resting today. Joey Wendell, Tommy Pham, two of the hottest hitters.
And you're winning.
Second half of the baseball. Right, and they're up. Just got guys that can plug and play.
Guerin taking a lot of time. Sharply struck, but right to Lowry. The backhanded play, and that'll do it. So the Rays threaten, but do not score here in the fifth. Still 3-0 Rays.
Something that we talked about in the open, the Rays becoming a bigger part of their game plan. C.J. Cron gets a ball down and out over the plate in the first inning, gives the Rays an early 2-0 lead, and then Willie Adames adds on. Go get the fastball at the top of the zone and wreck that out into left field to add on. The Rays right now have that 3-0 lead as we head into the top of the 6th inning. And Jamie Schultz now heads to the mound for the Rays, who have been busy on the bump this afternoon.
This is the 4th pitcher for Tampa Bay. Hunter Wood went 2 innings, allowing just a hit through 26 pitches. I mean, not only have the Rays used a lot of guys, they've been awfully efficient. 65 pitches to get through 5 one-hit innings, and now we'll see if Jamie can answer the call here. This is a big inning for him. He gave up the game-winning homer in the 10th on Friday night to Chris Davis. And he gets the 8, 9, and 1 hitters here. Good fastball to start it off. Before that home run, Jamie had not allowed a run here in the month of September. It had 5 scoreless outings. Off the end of the bat, Bowers is there. 1 gone here in the 6th. I was chatting with Jamie before the game because he was on that AAA championship team, and I said, how much did the winning help you? And he said, well, as a group, he said, we learned how to win, but he also said we trusted one another because we knew one another for so long. So I said, what's bigger? Is it the trust in the guys you have or the learning how to win? And he says there's really kind of an equal amount of both. That's really, really important.
I was going to say, you would think that it would work hand in hand. You learn to work together as a group. Most of the guys playing together all season long, and you've got some talent, you start to win some games, and it's fun to be able to have that dynamic happen at the same time.
Whistle just foul off the bat of the number 9 hitter Jonathan Lucroy, and it's 1-1. And the other thing that he and Andrew Kittredge, who was the 2nd pitcher for the Rays today, told me was there was an expectation when you got to the ballpark that not you hoped you would win, not you thought you would win, but you came to the park expecting to win. And I get a feeling, being in that Rays clubhouse, that this last month they expect to win every day. Should be a play for Cron. Come toward the Rays dugout. 2 down here in the 6th. Hey, do you have a 10 to 16-year-old kid who is a big Rays fan and would like to be a part of the 2019 Rays Rookies TV show? Maybe you too. If so, send photos of your child, a 1-minute video of that individual, a quick bio, and what makes them a big Rays fan to Rays Rookies at RaysBaseball.com by September 21st. That's coming up this week. Rays up. Well, so far so good for Jamie Schultz here in the 6th. He gets to the top of the order, and Nick Martini, who's behind 0-1. Fastball for Schultz there at 93. He'll get it up to 96 miles an hour. He's another guy who could be a really important piece of the back-end bullpen going forward, as long as he can throw enough strikes.
That's it. Command issues. He's got the arm. There's no doubt. We've seen it. It's just a matter of being able to consistently, and I wouldn't even say throw strikes, quality strikes. Throw the ball where you want to. You know, sometimes you don't want it to be in the zone. You want something just out of the zone. That's called command, and that's what he needs to get more consistent with, and if he does, he'll take off. We've seen it with a number of guys. You know, we saw it with Jose Alvarado. You know, over the course of last season and into this season. If he could get his command, you know, where you'd like him to have it and where he'd like to have it, he's going to become a dominant back-end guy. Well, guess what? There, we're seeing the same thing with Castillo.
And everyone develops at their own paces. He's now behind 3-1 on Martini here.
And we've seen, okay, think about, you know, Stanek. You know, his command has gotten better, but his secondary pitches have gotten much better.
I would say a split especially.
Yep. I mean, they've become weapons now, not just show pitches.
Slice the other way. Long run, Jake Bowers dives and makes the play. This is a guy who has predominantly played first base, but that is a web gem. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jamie Schultz and the Rays. What a play by Bowers.
Well, just a couple innings ago, one lucky family got the surprise of a lifetime during the Lucky Row giveaway. There was a video from the dad of the Acosta family. His name is Gabe Acosta, Master Sergeant in the Army, and afterwards they were surprised by their dad himself. And then later on, at the end of the 5th inning, he presented Rays President Matt Silverman with a flag that was flown in Iraq on 9/11, guys.
That gives, I think, anyone watching, that's got to give you chills, doesn't it?
If you're human.
Beautiful stuff, Michelle.
Can't even imagine.
Well, that's what makes this country great.
Yeah, the sacrifices on both ends.
Family, and certainly any individual who's doing that overseas. Is Kevin Kiermaier facing Ryan Buchter, the 3rd pitcher for the Oakland A's today. Corey Guerin, a scoreless inning in the 5th after Mike Fiers gave up 3 runs in the first 4. See Buchter's numbers. This A's bullpen has been terrific. Buchter has allowed a run in just 1 of 17 appearances. And he's ahead 0-2 on KK.
Does a really nice job. He's got 2 things here going for him. He's got an interesting deceptive arm angle, and he hides the ball for a long time before delivering it to the plate. Kind of like a slow drag with the body, and then boom, here quick with the arm. Low 3/4.
KK rolls over on one, and he stays alive. Buchter pitching for his 4th team at the big league level. Drafted originally by the Nationals. He broke in 14 for a game with the Braves, then with the Padres, the Royals, and now the Oakland A's. Traded in January to Oakland. He's been a nice find. And their fans Kiermaier on the fastball up and away. 1 gone here in the 6th. That's just the 3rd strikeout for A's pitching today.
That's something as a team all season long the Rays have done a much better job of doing, is putting the ball in play, giving themselves an opportunity to make something happen.
Got more action going in the A's bullpen right now as they have righty Emilio Pagan behind Buchter. We got Willie Adames, a righty, facing the lefty here. Skips out of the way. Willie homered his last time up, his 9th, as he get a look at Pagan. 26th run batted in for the Rays rookie shortstop. Got it a little bit off the hands. Laureano an easy play, and 2 gone here in the 6th. And here's Jake Bauers, who made that tremendous catch to finish the top of the inning. I've had a lot of Rays infielders do a really nice job adapting to playing the outfield too. That's not an easy thing to do, especially in this ballpark.
No, not in the least. Baseball players, good baseball players, versatile baseball players. And by the way, to make something like that work, you have to be willing, because you go out there stomping your feet, you're not going to be as good as you'd like to be, or as good as the team needs you to be. So these guys say, yeah, anything to help the team, and they go out there and they work hard, and it shows up in their play.
Bauers strikes one well. Laureano on his horse. It's over his head and off the wall. Jake Bauers will cruise into second with a 2-out double. And that was crushed to dead center. And that gives me a sense that he's starting to feel right again.
Anytime you see hitters using the middle of the field, you start to feel good. And this pitch up middle actually caught that ball a little off the end of the bat or the barrel. This ball may be out of here, but it certainly burns Laureano, who gets turned around, and that ball ends up falling glove side behind him.
We talked before about how Laureano plays a very shallow center field, and that time it burned him a little bit. Here's Jesus Sucre, who ended a long over his last time up. Be nice to get another 2-out hit for a run here. Rays have a couple of 2-out runs today, because that's their 6th hit to 1 for Oakland.
And he's got an interesting setup out there in center field. You know, he stands almost like a hitter facing the pitcher. He gets ready to go. Look at, he's standing sideways. And then as the pitcher goes into delivery, he'll take that right leg and swing it around to get into fielding position. Very unique style. You don't see really anything like this at all. Well, there he goes.
And I was going to say, I don't remember ever seeing any outfielder set up that way. But it works. And he has not a good throwing arm. He has a great throwing arm. And great is sometimes used too frequently, but he's got 7 outfield assists in 35 games and some of the most incredible throws you've ever seen so far since joining the A's.
That number will start to dry up because teams will get wise to that arm and they'll stop challenging it.
2-0. Taken by Sucre, who has 16 runs batted in. Came in hitting just a .186 without a home run. See, his average has bumped up a few points. He had 7 homers last year. And he did swing it fairly well against lefties like Buchter. I'm kind of surprised they didn't bring in the righty Pagan for him. Jesus just missed a pitch there, and it's even. Buchter has coming off 16 out of 17 scoreless outings for these A's. Jesus has just kind of settled into his role as the backup catcher, whether it's behind Wilson Ramos, the injured Michael Perez, or now Nick Schufo, who started the first 2 games of this series. Off the fist. In Olsen. Under it. Inning over. So the Rays get a 2-out double from Jake Bauers, but nothing more. It's still 3-0 Rays after 6.
And our Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the game. Who else? Jake Bauers, the converted first baseman. Foul territory. You keep making plays like that, you may not see first for a while.
Well, it also helps that C.J. Cron has hit a homer playing first today.
See?
So you got a little of everything.
Be careful.
Jimmy Schultz says touchdown.
Yes, well, it's good. It's Sunday, NFL Sunday.
Sunday fun day. Fun for some, not as much fun for others, depending on who you're rooting for. Matt Chapman here in the 7th, and the Rays have double barrel action in their bullpen. Ryan Stanek on the left, Adam Kolarek, the southpaw, on the right, just to confuse you. Chapman takes that first pitch fastball for strike 1. Chapman 2 ground outs to short. Again, the A's have been held to 1 hit over 6. Now ahead 0-2. I'll tell you, normally If the Rays are trying to close out a series against a really good team, you would see Rowe 7, Alvarado 8, or Romo 9, in some facsimile of that, depending on how the lineup matches up. As that just missed upstairs, and it's 1-2. It tells me that someone isn't available today. Alvarado was not up yesterday. Rowe and Romo pitched each of the last 2 days, so I'm not sure if one isn't available. As Chapman skies this out of play to stay alive, Smith gives it a chance, but it is into the seats.
Well, remember this, Romo working back-to-back days, and he had that visit with the training staff and Kevin Cash. That ankle, you know, got a little bit wobbly. That left leg, you could see he was favoring that in that outing. He stayed in there and finished and got done what he needed to get done. But you just wonder if they're giving him a day maybe because of that. I mean, who knows?
Rowe and Romo are both down there. And now they count even on Matt Chapman, who again hit a long homer yesterday, his 23rd. 4 for 11 in this series.
I think you've also figured out, like the rest of us, that about the time you feel like you have the Rays pitching plan figured out, you're not that close. Like that pitch.
Schultz missed badly. He was up 0-2 in this sequence, and now you're in danger of a leadoff base runner here. And again, the control and command at times have been an issue for Jamie. He's tough to hit when he can throw strikes consistently. There's a pretty good breaking ball. C.J. Cron lines it up. One gone here in the 7th inning. Hey, starting in week 4, Fox will be the new network home of Thursday night football. And the schedule we have on Fox this year is loaded. One huge can't-miss matchup after another. Thursday night football coming to Fox week 4. Now, it's a game. The Rays still trying to make a game out of it against these Oakland A's. A win today would, I think, maybe most important, be another step forward toward 90 wins and guarantee the first winning season since the playoff team in 13.
Yeah, we were talking about this at the beginning of this homestand, and the way that the Rays have been playing.
As Jed Lowry hits one high near the rings, and making the catch is Malik Smith, and 2 gone here in the 7th.
The way that the Rays have been playing, and they have been really clicking on all cylinders. The pitching staff's been great. They've been scoring a lot of runs, and the defense has been very, very good. So with that thought, I thought anything fewer than 90 would be a disappointment. And they have certainly put themselves on schedule to do that. But that's how well and consistent they've been playing to go along with what you were talking about. These guys come to the ballpark day in and day out and expect to win.
There's now 2 down in the inning for Chris Davis, who got Schultz the other day for the game-winning homer. And he's going to get a chance at redemption here with a 3-0 lead. Well, if the Rays win today, they'll be 48-26 at home, with 7 home games left and 14 overall. Pretty good breaking ball there. Over the top of it was Davis, and it's 1-1. And if the Rays were to just win 8 of their last 14 games, if they win today, they would end up with 90 victories.
Yeah, and they're going to go north of that if that's the case.
I mean, 10-4 would get them to 92 if they win today. And never since they've had 2 wild cards has a team not gotten to the postseason at 92 wins. So if they don't and they still win 92 games, as you see how good the Rays have been in their home ballpark, I mean, you kind of have to tip your cap to Oakland for the run they've been on.
34-36 coming into play on June the 16th. And since then, they have been lights out.
I mean, even if they were to lose today, it would be, what, 56 cents?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
From
That's 700 baseball for 80 games.
Yeah, and by the way, that's 70 games into the season where you're 2 games under.
Nice slider, and it's 3-2.
I mean, who turns it on like that? I mean, if you would have told the team, you're 2 games under 500. You're 70 games into the season, and on September the 16th, this will be your record. How? I mean, a complete overhaul? Not really.
Nope. Schultz strikes out Davis today, and the Rays pitching has been on point all day. 1 hit allowed, and we are at the stretch. It's been a bullpen day extraordinaire. 3-0 Rays. So far, it has been the Rays' day. All the runs on the homer, and on a bullpen day, the Rays' pitching has not been good. It's been absolutely terrific. 4 relievers have allowed 1 hit and 1 walk. Neil Solon's in for Dwayne Stats. We certainly hope that Dwayne feels better soon. With Brian Anderson, Emilio Pagan is the new pitcher for the Oakland A's. Pagan is the 4th pitcher for Oakland after Corey Guerin and Ryan Buckner each threw a scoreless inning. Now, Pagan has had a good year overall, but he has struggled lately, giving up 8 runs in his last 7 outings. He's given up a couple of runs against the Rays in his career in 3 outings. We'll see if Tampa Bay can add to the lead as the Rays have their back-end bullpen starting to get loose. Jose Alvarado warming down the right field line for Tampa Bay. Top of the order, Malik Smith, Matt Duffy, and Ji-Man Choi. Against the righty Pagan. Malik's a walk, a fly out, a ground out, standing in. Still has been absolutely terrific the past couple months, despite the quiet day so far. Chases the high fastball there from Pagan, his first appearance in this series. 27-year-old from the Carolinas, and obviously right now our thoughts are with anybody who is from the Carolinas, has family out there after what Florence has done to this point. Moving Malik Smith out of the way. Again, the only hit for Oakland so far, Matt Olson's 1-out single in the 5th off Hunter Wood. That and a walk to Olson in the 2nd, the only base runners for the A's today. Other than that, Rays pitching has been perfect. Smith down on strikes, 1 gone here in the Rays 7th. Oh, we mentioned Hurricane Florence, families affected urgently need support, so you can help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those families. Donate today. Go to redcross.org or text Florence to 90999 and give $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Relief today. I don't know about you, BA, but watching some of the pictures of the last 24, 48 hours, I mean, it's absolutely devastating what's happened along the coast of the Carolinas.
All the rain and all the flooding, and
not
when does it end? Right, that's the thing.
And Duffy 2 groundouts and hit by a pitch in the first inning. And Rays trying to win another series against the A's. As a line drive struck well, Martini a long run, it's over his head and off the base of the wall. Matt Duffy will cruise into second with a double. And the Rays will one out base runner here in the 7th. You don't often see Matt drive baseballs to the pull side, but there he did.
I think he's a little bit angry. First of all, he gets hit by a pitch in the ribs. That was in his first at-bat. Then that ground ball on a favorable count, well, full count, got a fastball and grounded to short. So I think you got an angry Matt Duffy who's unleashed on that heater that was missed in. And the Rays threaten once again.
21st double. Rays looking for insurance. Ji-Man Choi at the plate. A called strike. G-Man can get a hold of one and give the Rays another homer with a man on base. This would put this one out of reach and probably lead to an explosion in the seats as well, as Choi now down in the count 0-2. It's been a pretty good crowd this weekend with the Rays having those special $10 seats the last couple days down in the corners. They've enjoyed really good baseball from the Rays, especially at home, the past couple months. I mean, think about it. The only 2 losses in the last, 16 have been 2-0 and 2-1. That's it. They've been in every single game at home.
I think I saw, what was it, 48 of the last 50 games here, or 49 of the last 51. The Rays have either won or lost by a run.
Or 2, I think it was.
I mean, that is remarkable. The consistency of play here in this building. And really, it's about time.
And you know what? When you talk to these guys and they say we never feel like we're out of the game, 9 walk-off wins, all of that, I mean, it starts with that guy. I mean, I really think that he's done, and his coaching staff have done a terrific job staying positive after a 1-8 and a 4-13 start. That's not easy to do, to climb your way out of that hole and be where they are now.
No, not with a team that was wholly remade in the offseason and then continued to be tweaked, during the season, and all the youth.
Bob Melvin will get a lot of play for what he's done for Oakland, and it's deserved if they end up making the playoffs. But you take a look at what Kevin has done this year, and I hope a lot more people nationally take note of what he's done with his group this season in terms of the Manager of the Year. I'm sure Alex Cora with the best record will get consideration, but they've got great talent.
You know what? To me, it's the 2 guys are in this building. Period. That's
Amen.
1 and 2, and it shouldn't really be close after that. Because you're right, Alex Cora, yeah, they've got the best record, but look at the juggernaut that he gets to manage. That doesn't mean that you still don't have to create, a culture there and manage the season. But then you look at what Bob Melvin has done with this team's turnaround and what Kevin Cash has had to manage all year long. When you think about the opener, bullpen days, all the injuries coming out of spring training, all the turnover in the offseason, the turnover during the season, all of the youth.
Incredible, incredible job.
A lot of challenges.
Choi, well, Pagan thought he struck him out the last pitch. And this one is kind of boxed by Lucroy, and it's full. Looks like there was a cross-up, and I think Lucroy is kind of lucky that that was off speed versus a fastball.
Well, I think he just was going down to block that and try to keep it in front more than anything else, because Pagan just yanked it right into the dirt.
Full count now on Choi. Again, looking for his first hit of the series to kind of put this one on ice. This will get the runner over at least. A productive out for Choi as Olsen makes the play and Duffy on to third. So now the A's will have to bring the infield in for C.J. Cron, I would think, or actually 2 outs in the inning for Cron. 1 out double from Duffy, and here's C.J. who got the Rays on the board.
Didn't take long. A cement mixer, middle of the plate down, and it gets launched into left field. The Rays off and running in that first inning.
Now, all the runs so far on the home run, the Rays haven't had a hit with a man in scoring position. In fact, their only hit yesterday with a runner in scoring position was the Jake Bauers 3-run homer. Cron checking up on the ball in the dirt. In fact, the Rays are 0 for 5 now today. They were 1 for 10 yesterday. I mean, think about that. They're 1 for 15 the last 2 days, and they're in position to win this series against Oakland. It just speaks to how good their pitching has been, and the fact that they've actually done kind of what they did last year with less strikeouts hitting the home run ball. Only 4 strikeouts for A's pitching, just 4 for the Rays too. Chase there on a fastball up. That's kind of, again, that cold zone for CJ. His home run came on the pitch down around the knees.
And you see that a lot. Guys that like that start with their hands high, like to bring him, I mean, just like almost like a lumberjack, bring him down through the zone, catch that ball that's middle down, and be able to launch that way. At the same time, those pitches up are awfully enticing and can be tough to lay off of.
And now Cron ahead in the count. Again, it looks like Jose Alvarado for the 8th. I would think then Romo's got to be available for the 9th inning. Assuming that this is still a safe situation.
If you want to guess, you go right ahead. I'm going to wait and see who they. I'm done guessing. I haven't been very good at it.
Pitching very carefully to C.J. Cron here with an open base, and Brandon Lau, the rookie, on deck. CJ already with 2 hits today, the homer and the single, both of them to the pull side. Here's Pagan. And that'll run it full. And Rays, they're scoring early, all off the starter, Mike Fiers, who coming into today, the A's were 7-0 in his start since being traded from Detroit on August 6th. Rays trying to change that. There's ball 4 and runners at the corners. If the Rays win, they will be 16 over 500 for the first time this year, after being 9 under at one point. That's a 25-game flip as the Rays are going to pinch run at first base for C.J. Cron, with Carlos Gomez now at first. That would lead you to think that he'll play the outfield, and Jake Bauers, who's in left, would move back to first base for the bottom of the 8th if this remains a close game. Probably either way at this point. As Scott Emerson, the pitching coach, makes a second visit to the mound today. You know, for all the talk about the mound visits this year, I've yet to see a team come close to losing all 6 of them.
No, that's been a non-story. You used to see those things, and maybe some of the parks still do that, but they were out there on the, on the scoreboard. You got to keep the mound visits remaining, the MVRs.
A's have 3, Rays have 5.
I don't think one person has checked to see during the course of the season, because you're right, it's been a non-story.
Which is good. There's Brandon Lau and a pickoff move at third base. You don't see that very often. It did work. I remember one time against the Rays, was it in Chicago, where was it James Shields picked off Malik Smith earlier this year?
Good memory, yes.
But it's rare to see that work. And where are you going anyway at third with 2 out? You're going on contact. Line drive down the right field line. That's a fair ball for Lau. So the 2-out walk leads to 1 run. Carlos Gomez will be waved around third. Here's Lowry coming home. Not in time. 2 more 2-out runs for the Rays. It's 5-0. Must have had his applesauce today again.
Well, middle of the plate down, meant to be away. Whatever it was, keep it up. You shoot that ball down to the corner. This is why you pinch run. You get Gomez in there. He's going to score easily ahead of the throw. And the Rays have taken command of this ball game.
So now we'll see Adam Kolarek instead of Jose Alvarado start to get loose, because it's a 5-run lead. Why burn him at this point when you don't have a day off the rest of the season? Second triple for Lau. He has 19 RBIs now in the big leagues. As Kevin Kiermaier hits this one well, but Laureano has a beat on it. Shy of the track, and that'll do it. But Brandon Lau has given the Rays 4 2-out runs today with his 2-run triple, and the Rays in control. Buy your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And buy your local Honda dealer. Well, the Rays are looking for the kill against the A's. With a 5-0 lead and 1 hit allowed so far on a bullpen day. They have not used Jalen Beeks. They've instead gone with bullpen by committee with the September roster expansion. Carlos Gomez, who pinch ran for C.J. Cron and scored on Brandon Lau's 2-run triple, is now in right field. Malik Smith has moved to left field. And Jake Bauers, as expected, is now at first base. And on the hill for the Rays is left-hander Adam Kolarek, instead of Jose Alvarado, because of the 5-0 lead. Matt Olson is the only guy to reach base today for the A's. Rays with a win would still be 7 back of Oakland in the wild card with 14 to play. as that missed just inside and low. Toronto, by the way, has a 3-2 lead over the Yankees in the 8th inning in New York. Rays could actually pull within another game of them, too. And they do have 4 head-to-head. So that breaking ball misses. And the Yankees do have 6 against Boston still to come. Although I just saw it today, I don't know if you saw it on either on the Twitterverse or online, that Mookie Betts had to leave the game with some sort of side soreness in Boston's game against the Mets today. They've been pretty healthy all the way through, and he's their MVP, I think. 2-2 and a good tailing fastball.
What he gives that team offensively and, of course, defensively, even on the base pass, steal a bag for you.
Well, if you go by WAR, he would be your MVP right now, along with Mike Trout, and I think most would expect Betts over Trout at this point, as this is fouled off. Just, I think a lot of voters still put a lot of stock in how your team's doing. And I know it's hard to isolate impact on a club when you also have J.D. Martinez and Xander Bogaerts and Chris Sale and David Price and on and on and on. I mean, he's the best player on the best team. Sharply struck beyond the lunge of Adames. So Olsen has a perfect day going. The rest of the A's have not even reached base. Nice piece of hitting by Olsen the other way.
Yeah, he gets that extreme arm angle and just stays inside of it. He's got some room to work with over there on the other side of the field, and he's able to squirt it by.
Kevin Cash to this point had stayed away from the lefties. He went with Diego Castillo for 1, Andrew Kittredge for 2, Hunter Wood for 2, Jamie Schultz for 2, and now Kolarek giving up a single left on left. And there's a sinking fastball. Now, even though Adam is a left-hander, he's fairly neutral in terms of lefty-righties because of the sink he has. He can get a lot of ground balls, and the Rays would certainly welcome a double play ground ball here. There is a ground ball possibility for 2. Lau, Adames, there's 2. Well played. Brandon took out the extra hop there by charging.
And not only that, you take away that extra hop, but now you've got to get the little option pitch right on the money. Not easy to make. And right there behind him, a little pitch. This right here is sweet.
Must have been a quarterback in the wishbone.
Yes, what a feed.
2 gone. So that hit immediately erased. The Rays have faced 1 over the minimum. And we're in the 8th inning with a 5-0 advantage for Tampa Bay. Ramon Laureano takes strike 1 call. Now you could probably use, if he has a quick inning, you could use Kolarek for the 9th too. Save the rest of the pen for tomorrow. Rowe, Romo, Alvarado. Keep them fresh for Texas. And you've got your 2 big boys, Glasnow and Snell, going the first 2 games in Arlington. They're well stocked down there. First base hit by someone other than Matt Olson. Kiermaier cuts it off. Here's Laureano. And a hustle double. Pretty good effort, though, by Kevin, because his momentum was carrying him way over toward right field on that. And he was throwing off his back leg.
And we see that a lot. You know, he gets to a lot of balls in the gap. He's got great speed and closing speed and tries to get the ball in as quickly as possible just to limit extra bases. The spin and the throw. Loves to show off that arm, and he's got a very good one.
Well, he might as well do it against a guy who has Laureano's arm too. He said, I don't want you running on me. KK, by the way, has 5 assists, which is a lot for a guy who's missed half the season. And not many guys will run on him anymore. As Marcus Semien takes outside. A couple of flyouts today. 1 to Kiermaier. And Rays with all their runs today on the extra base hit. 3 on the home run, 2 on the triple. The A's now trying to mount a 2-out rally, and Laureano almost got himself picked off.
that was sweet, because that was very quietly done by Sucre, and Lau sneaking in behind him.
Simeon with one of the rare good counts for an ace hitter. Pretty good changeup to work back to 2-1. Again, Rays have shut down an A's team that's been one of the best teams on the road this year in baseball, especially offensively. Now it's 3-1. A's are averaging well over 5 runs a game coming into today and this series. Yet they had 3 hits on Friday night. Now they did have 5 and 13 yesterday, but a lot of them singles. And that was the first extra base hit for Oakland today, the Laureano hustle double.
Take away what they do well. Find the areas of the strike zone where they can't hurt you. Rays pitching.
As a ground ball back to the mound is snared by Kolarek. The underhand flip, and it's 8 shutout innings for Rays pitching today. Rays in control. AWS. And how about this from Willie Adames? 110 off the bat and on the target. Speaks for itself.
It does. We've seen Willie be able to ambush some fastballs, get some big home runs here for this Rays team. Another one right there.
Frankie Montas, the latest pitcher for the A's. You see his numbers. I thought of more as a starter and showing some pretty good velo there. 2, the aforementioned Willie Adames. Again, Rays up 5-0. Here at Tropicana Field is bottom third of the Rays order coming up. Jake Faria warming up in the Rays bullpen. He hasn't pitched on the homestand. Pitched in Toronto.
Tough to find innings.
With the way this group is pitching right now.
You know, and that's the challenge for each individual to be able to go out.
As it's sliced to right, could be trouble if it's fair. It is, and it's a rule book double for Willie Adames. So he pulled a homer to left, and he slices a ground rule double to right.
Well, I had the day off yesterday after the rough Friday night, and boy, he has bounced back in a big way here for the Rays. That fastball right in the middle of the plate, and he just reaches out there, pokes it, and keeps it fair. Right on the paint.
Well, for Willie, that's 7 doubles to go along with 9 homers at the big league level. He'd really been kind of a singles guy the last week or so. Jake Bauers with a double and a walk today. Rays racking up the extra base hits, and now with 9 total. Productive out for Jake Bowers. Will move Adames to third. One gone here in the Rays' eighth. So it's now up to Jesus Sucre. Well, I think has probably done a pretty unsung job today. I mean, when you think about how many pitchers the Rays have moved in and out in this game, it's really been a pure bullpen game. And every guy has done a remarkably good job. Castillo, Kittredge, Wood, Schultz, and then Kolarek. The guy who's at least flashing the signs has been Jesus Sucre. Infield comes in. Simeon will come home. And the out is recorded as Adames is down 6-2. Well, running on contact, which you should do, man, at third, one out.
Yeah, that's the risk that you take. It's sharply hit right at somebody. They're going to have a play.
So now Sucre at first with 2 out in the inning. Rays lead still by a handful, so they got better than a slam lead. Top of the order for Malik Smith, who's looking for his first hit of the day. And Rays 3 outs away from being 16 over 500 for the first time. And their first winning campaign under Kevin Cash. And I think a win closer to that 90 mark. Now, Kevin talked before the game. He was asked, hey, if you get the 82nd win, what does it mean? And he said, well, I don't want to put too much on it at all, because he said we have bigger goals. I mean, he said it's nice. This is swing and a miss by Malik Smith. But he said that's not our end goal.
No.
The end goal is postseason. The end goal is to win it in the postseason.
On to the next one. I mean, that's what it has to be. The Rays, their thinking is we got to win out, and we do that by taking care of business today. And then we worry about tomorrow. And you can reflect on those numbers when the season's all said and done.
You're playing Oakland, so you might as well say just win, baby, because that's what Al Davis did, right? Old reference.
Yeah. Well, no, it's listen,
But
there have
true.
been different teams throughout my career, whether it's college or professional, where that was the mantra. However you have to do it.
Nice run by Chapman, but he'll have no play. 2-2 on Malik Smith. Rays with 2 in the first, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the seventh. A home run by Crone in the first after the A's didn't turn a double play. Adames' shot that we showed you in the fourth, and then a 2-out, 2-run triple by Brandon Lau down the right field line after a 2-out walk. So 4 of the 5 runs for the Rays with 2 out. And all the runs on extra base hits. Malik Smith working another deep count. Full count on Malik, who walked on a 3-2 in the second. Again, the quality of the at-bat, considering how many pitchers the Rays are facing, has been very good, too. A's only got 4 from their starter, Mike Fiers. It's been different pitchers every inning since, as it's knocked back to Montas, who knocks it down, flips to first, and the Rays are retired in the 8th inning. So they get a double, and that's it. We move to the 9th, 3 outs for a Rays win. Rich and Orestes anchoring coverage from the left field set. Kevin Cash will have his press conference. Michelle will have interviews from the clubhouse. And 3 more outs to get. The Rays working on a 3-hit shutout today as Jake Faria making his first appearance of the homestand. Jake was injured for a couple months there, then was activated in August, optioned to AAA when Tommy Pham came off the DL, and he's made just 1 appearance since. That was on September the 5th, so it's been 11 days between outings for Jake Faria. And he'll face the 9, 1, and 2 hitters, and it's former Ray Matt Joyce against Jake Faria here. Hitting for Jonathan Lucroy, who was 0 for 2. Look at Matt's numbers. Kind of been relegated to pinch hitting duties. You've got Joyce, then Nick Martini, and Matt Chapman. The final 3 hopes for Oakland here in the 9th. The Rays 3 outs away. As Faria misses with his first offering. And now it's even. Faria delivers upstairs and outside. I think for Jake, however many innings he gets this final month of the season, final 2 weeks plus of the season, I think is pretty important for him going into the offseason to just feel good about himself going forward in what's been a tough campaign.
You want to build some momentum, have something to feel good about in the offseason as you start to work out, because space will be limited.
Yep.
When you come into spring training of 2019.
And you got to perform. You got to earn it. There's no scholarship rides with this club the way they've played. There's a lot of depth building. And there's a walk to a 199 hitter to begin the 9th inning on 5 pitches. And that's where you can go back to spring training with Jake. He just had a whole lot of tough time keeping his mechanics in order. And I'm sure 11 days without pitching doesn't help him here. But I'm sure he also would be the first to tell you he's not going to make excuses for walking the leadoff batter here in the 9th inning either, as Nick Martini, the left fielder, standing in top of the order. Got the inside corner there. I can tell you one thing Kevin Cash doesn't want to do right now is have to warm somebody up here in the 9th inning with a 5-run lead. I don't know who he'd use, but I know he doesn't want to have to do that. Rays have been in control since C.J. Cron's homer in the 1st. Ball 1 misses away. BA, what do you see on his delivery right now? The reason that he seems to be missing to the arm side with all of these offerings.
Well, typically when you see that, either you are drifting towards home plate a little too soon, or you are pulling off just a little bit and not allowing your hand to get out in front.
Very missed again, same area.
Well, it really looked like on that pitch that he was driving the ball to that spot. Didn't really pull off as much as he drove it right where he was stepping and had his head.
Let's see if he can make an adjustment here and get in the strike zone against Martini, who has flied out twice and struck you out today. 1 for 7 in the set. Now it's 3-1. So you walked Matt Joyce, and you're in danger of walking Nick Martini with Chapman, Lowry, Davis coming up. And I can guarantee you, one more pitch is thrown outside of the strike zone, and the Rays will get somebody up in that right field bullpen. Taken all the way. Jake Bauers asking his dugout, all right, how do we want to play this here with nobody out in the ninth and a 5-run lead? Does he play behind Matt Joyce in this spot? It's kind of off the runner here. So they at least have a play on a ground ball, kind of quasi holding on the runner. Sliced foul. And he's throwing pretty much all fastballs here too.
Well, you're trying to get into the zone. I mean, now would not be the time to, if you're not able to command that fastball, to be going with something else, especially, you know, when you have a lead like this, if you're throwing 2-0 breaking stuff and that's out of the zone, you got to find your way in there. Then you could start to mix in the other pitches. But first and foremost, get the mechanics right, get the fastball in the zone.
Payoff a second time to Nick Martini here in the ninth inning. Missed high, ball 4, and that's back-to-back walks to open the ninth inning for Jake Faria.
And there's the phone call.
And there goes Sergio Romo. How hard is that mentally, as Kyle Snyder's going to buy him some time, when you're thinking this game is over? It's 5-0, ninth inning. They've had 3 hits all day. They haven't had a runner beyond second. To now, if you're Sergio or whoever it is, it looks like they've got Alvarado with a baseball too, to rev up the engines and get ready.
No, they should already be revved. Those guys, especially Sergio Romo, who has been in this game long enough, understands you do not ever mentally check out. You check out when the 27th out is made. Up until that point, you have got to stay ready to go and anticipate that phone call so that you can jump up and immediately start getting ready to go in there and do your job. A younger guy, that, you know, they may let the mind wander a little bit because the lead is big, but a veteran knows better.
Pointed message from Kyle Snyder with Matt Chapman now coming up, and look, one swing and this is the ball game. This has got to be, I would think, Faria's final hitter if he doesn't get Chapman. So Romo and Alvarado getting loose. 2 walks to open the inning. The Rays had walked 1 batter and allowed 3 hits through the first 8. Chapman 2 ground outs and a pop out so far today. And again, Faria missing badly with his fastball there to the glove side. So it was an easy day so far, anything but so far to begin the ninth inning for Faria and the Rays. Chapman now up 2-0. 14 pitches, 4 strikes.
He's pulling off, and he's pulling off badly. You know, Jake has that delivery where you want to see that little pause over the rubber for a split second before he heads towards home plate, and he's getting started too soon and trying to overcompensate with the front side as opposed to driving it. So
and now he's 1 pitch away from walking the bases loaded. I mean, you feel for Jake right now.
It's a horrible place to be, and nobody in this building feels worse than Jake Faria. Let me assure you of that.
Got to imagine Chapman's taking 3-0 with 2 walks before him. And that is low, and the bases are loaded. And here comes Kevin Cash. He has no choice. So we got a call to the bullpen. We'll be back in just a moment. Again, Rays trying to close out. They've got a 5-0 lead. Spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Well, talk about a challenge. Jose Alvarado coming in with the bases loaded and nobody out in the ninth inning. The good, he does have some cushion because the tying run is on the on-deck circle. It's a 5-0 ball game. Jose with 8 saves this year has had 13 consecutive scoreless outings. Fanned the side against the A's on Friday night. The Rays still have Sergio Romo warming behind him here in the ninth inning with nobody out. Now you've got Lowry, a switch hitter, coming up from the right side, which is his weaker side, at least from a power standpoint. Then the dangerous Chris Davis, followed by lefty Matt Olson. And after that, you've got all right-handers. So perhaps if Alvarado can get the next 3 batters, we won't see Sergio Romo. Right now, the most important thing for Jose Alvarado is to throw strikes and get out number 1. The Rays have put him in the most difficult situations, and he seems to want the baseball in those moments. Just his first full year in the big leagues. Remember, he came up from Double-A in May of last year. Really has emerged. And he throws a fastball by the bat of Jed Lowry, 0-1. Lowry today, a ground out, strikeout, and flyout, is 1 for a dozen in this series. Now the 0-1. Didn't chase the high fastball. And it's even on Lowry. Jed Lowry involved in one of, or the most famous moment in Rays history. The ground ball to Aki that closed out the 08 ALCS for the Rays against the Red Sox. Rays looking for a big out against him today. Not quite as big as 08. And in the dirt, and it's off Sucre, but not far enough for a run to score. He didn't know where it was, but it just trickled behind him right outside the batter's circle, and the A's not taking a chance. It's now 2-1. That's a second ball that's gotten by him today.
Well, you don't feel comfortable enough as a guy on third to make that dash for home, because it's not that far away. It'd be a pretty quick recovery for Sucre to get there. So you not want to take an out at the plate, and that helps the Rays right there, because any further, and certainly Joyce would have scampered home.
Again, Joyce the runner at third, Martini at second, Chapman at first, all on walks against Jake Faria to start the ninth inning. Now at 2-1. Driven the other way, foul, and it's even. Now, where I think that Jose has been especially tough, BA, and you can speak to us, on righties, is that breaking ball. It seems to lock up a lot of right-handed batters.
He gets a lot of depth with a pitch that, you know, it doesn't move down and in like a back foot slider as much as it stays middle and just straight down. And he's got an interesting way of throwing it too. You know, fingers are just a little bit off center. And when you watch the release and then watch how the ball acts, you wonder how he's able to get that kind of depth. But he does. He's got ridiculous hand and arm speed.
2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him with it.
There it is. That's the thing. You know, he keeps it right in the middle of the plate to where you have to commit to it, and then it's just gone.
Well, with righty Chris Davis 2 up, it's going to be Sergio Romo to try and close this one out.
You tell me how that ball has that much depth to it with the release of Alvarado. He has been special.
Jose Alvarado does his job. Sergio says to Sergio Romo, now it's your turn. We're back with Sergio right after this. brought to you by the Florida Lottery, struck out the only batter he faced. The A's with 3 walks to begin the ninth against Jake Faria, getting a runner to third for the first time today. Sergio Romo trying to pick up his 21st save. He gave up a homer yesterday to Matt Chapman in the ninth. Chris Davis has 42 of those in 111 ribbies. And he hits this one high in the air and fairly deep to left. Smith going back, and it's a 1-run game. Got a hanging slider for homer number 43. And just like that, this becomes a very scary ninth inning. Second homer allowed in as many days for Sergio to a right-handed batter.
Chris Davis is vulnerable down and away with the slider, but you see it never gets there. Never gets there. That front hit opens up. You see him go to lift, and he's able to swipe that ball right out to left field. He has that kind of power and immediately tightens this game up 5-4. But if you're Sergio Romo, listen, 2 outs to get, nobody on. Let's go to work.
Matt Olson's been perfect today, and he takes a called strike, 0-1. You've got Olson, who has 27 homers, including one yesterday, and 23 of them are against righties like Romo. And then Stephen Piscotty. There's a good slider to the back door.
Absolutely nothing that Olson could have done with that pitch. Started well off the plate, and he broke it right to the edge, and that gives him the jump.
Olson with 2 singles and a walk today. Bounced it in. So for Davis, a career best 43 homers now at 115 RBIs. And you can call him one-dimensional, but I think you also have to call him pretty good at hitting mistakes.
Well, that dimension is pretty good. I mean, you one-dimensional all you want, but 43, 115, I'll take it.
And that slider misses in, and it's 2-2 on Olson. And now you've got the big boys warming up in the A's bullpen. If we get to the bottom of the ninth, Blake Trinan and Lou Trevino. See Davis's home run numbers. Swing and a miss and 2 down. So now the Rays are an out away.
Keep that breaking ball below the zone so that Olson cannot lift it. It was a great job of making that pitch enticing, but completely unhittable.
Here's Stephen Piscotty. He stands in the way of the Rays' first winning season since 2013, and a season best 16 over 500. Popped him up. This should do it. Kiermaier. Rays win. 5-4 the final. The grand slam by Davis in the ninth, not enough. And the Rays have a winning campaign and are indeed 16 over 500 for the first time under Kevin Cash. Andrew Kittredge the victory, and Tampa Bay holds on. For my partner Brian Anderson, Neil Solondz with the final score once again. 5-4, Rays win it. Rich and O are up next. Thanks for being with us for another Rays victory.